FM, the station for the very latest in news and current affairs, will broadcast live the opening budget presentation by the Minister of Finance and the Public Service, the Honorable Dr. Nigel Clark. On Tuesday, March 12, Dr. Clark will put forward the government's plans to finance the budget for 2024 to 2025. That's a live broadcast of Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark's opening budget presentation, Tuesday, March 12, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution.
Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
The all-new 2023 Ford Everest is here. An off-road capable 7-seater with exquisite style and more technology. Get everything you're looking for in an SUV. Book your new Everest today.
The temperature by KIG Ford is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 degrees out west in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, Prime Minister Holness criticizes some stakeholders who he says exploited the reckless policies of the former PNP government and are now posing as business gurus and experts on the economy.
And the Prime Minister says one of the biggest challenges facing his government is increasing the country's productivity.
The challenge I face is how to get the public bureaucracy to increase its speed of delivery.
National Security Minister Dr. Horace Jang says Jamaica is leading the way in finding a diplomatic solution to the Haitian crisis.
The government is taking an active and leading role in trying to get CARICOM to bring some stability, to work with partners internationally and international agencies to bring some stability to Haiti.
The JLP has retained the Cornwall Mountain Division in central Westmoreland but lost Ginger Ridge in west central St. Catherine following a magisterial recount.
Jamaica named Global Destination of the Year at the prestigious travel show ITB in Berlin.
In news from the rest of the world, Haiti extends a state of emergency and nighttime curfew to try and repel widespread gang attacks.
The U.S. plans to set up temporary port on the Gaza coastline for delivering more aid.
In sports, ISA to debut new broadcast concept for Champs 24.
And later on our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, the JLP is raising questions about the results of one of its strongholds in St. Catherine, the Ginger Ridge Division. MP for West Central St. Catherine, Dr. Christopher Tufton, will join us.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, what is your reaction to Beachy Stout being found guilty of his second wife's murder? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio. Message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90 FM.
And in the nation's business at 6:40, 228 councillors were sworn in across 14 local authorities today. Among them were 14 mayors. We'll speak with the mayors of St. Anne's Bay and Montego Bay.
And at 8, it's Jamaican Dads with Dennis Brooks, Garth Williams, Marlon Campbell, and Floyd Green.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, jm.com, and on the Nationwide app available on Google Play and the App Store. This Thursday afternoon, it's Thursday, March 7, 2024.
News at 5 is brought to you by the new Crunch Sandwich from KFC. Available in hot and spicy or barbecue for just $600. A finger-licking good deal at KFC.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is slamming some stakeholders who he says exploited the reckless policies of the former PNP administration to ensure their own corporate success, but they are now posing as business gurus and experts on the economy. The Prime Minister leveled the criticism against the PNP's management of the economy in the 1990s while addressing the Amber Group launchpad at the University of Technology on Wednesday. Nora Gay Banton reports.
According to Prime Minister Holness, some of those individuals who benefited from the PNP policies of the 1990s, which hurt the masses, should be called out for their current posture on the JLP administration's management of the country's affairs.
If you were a bank, if you were an investment house, if you were a securities dealer, if you were in any way minded to do investments, did not have to think up of a new product, a new app. You didn't have to innovate. All you needed to do was to take the little money that you have. And they say invest, but that's not what they were doing. That's not investing precisely. They just lend it to the government.
The Prime Minister elaborated on his point as he criticized so-called experts on current happenings in the economy. Mr. Holness called on outspoken public commentator and former private sector organization of Jamaica President Howard Mitchell, who was in attendance at the function, to take note of the history of some of the current critics of the government's management of the economy.
Much of the businesses that we have today that claim to be financial gurus, to be some, wizard of economic innovation and ingenuity, that's what they came out of, including those who pontificate today about how an economy should be run and how they have a better perspective on how an economy must be run. I just thought I would put that into context. So the next time you speak, Howard, you can speak on that and speak on it powerfully as you speak on other things.
The Prime Minister says his administration has placed Jamaica on a stable economic platform that encourages entrepreneurship and economic growth. He says it's important that the younger generation appreciate what transpired in Jamaica's financial sector under the PNP in the 1990s.
Jamaica had an inflation rate of 77% in 1 year. 77%. We're quarreling about, just after the pandemic, we went up as high as 12, and we're now at about 5. They're about 6. We're hovering somewhere there. 77%. I'm looking at the audience, at the young people there who would have been around in the 1990s or may not have been born even in 1992, 1993, would know nothing about this. But that is where we're coming from. 77% inflation in 1 year under the government of the people who would want to tell this administration how to manage inflation.
Nora Gay Banton for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Holness says his administration is currently facing the biggest challenge of reassuring Jamaicans of an increase in the transformation of the country's productivity.
Jamaica must focus now on peace and productivity. Those are two critical things. The challenge I face is how to get the public bureaucracy to increase its speed of delivery. That is the greatest challenge that the administration faces now. The country is going through a series of simultaneous transformation in institutions. The public may not see the big picture, the arrangement of the architecture of transformation, because the results have not yet started to come.
The Prime Minister says Jamaicans will be able to witness the results of that transformation soon.
I am here to tell you that the transformations are becoming entrenched, they are developing pace, and results will come. But when you put that beside 50 years of suffering, people do get frustrated. When you put that beside some people seeming to be benefiting, and I am not benefiting, that leads to a kind of another set of inequity, unfairness, and frustration.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness, he was speaking at the launch of Amber UTEC's Launchpad held at the University of Technology in St. Andrew on Wednesday evening. The Amber UTEC's Launchpad will assist 100 startups to launch their businesses over the next 3 years. Over $2 billion is expected to be invested in 100 startups over 1,000 days. This investment will help startups with capital training and market for their products from start to finish.
The private sector needs to increase on-the-job training. That's a word from the former president of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, Howard Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell says the time has come for the sector to allocate more in their budget for training workers and raising productivity.
And the state is moving to address the inadequacies of training in many of its educational institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, in those circumstances, is it not time for the private sector to increase its attention to on-the-job training, to providing more in its budget for training for its employees? Should this not be a priority item in our annual budgets, to upskill our very own staff and to improve the working conditions of its human capital, to establish performance-based pay, to incentivize them to stay in our country and to raise our productivity?
Mr. Mitchell said more than 50% of students trained at Mona School of Business leave to go overseas. He noted that human capital is Jamaica's most important resource and highlighted a few companies that capitalize on this fact.
In the midst of the complaints about high turnover rates of employees and low productivity, companies like Sandals, Knutsford Express, Sagicor, Caramed Group, Spur Tree Spices, JMMB, and Grace Kennedy managed to produce consistently good results and keep their people at work. How it is that the National Baking Company manages to maintain much lower percentages of employee turnover and much higher productivity than the national standard? They must be doing something different from the rest of us. I believe that it is because they have recognized the value of human capital and that human capital is Jamaica's most significant and valuable resource.
Howard Mitchell. He was speaking at the launch of Amber UTEC's Launchpad held at the University of Technology yesterday.
National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says Jamaica is leading the way in finding a diplomatic solution to the Haitian crisis. The matter came up during Thursday's sitting of Parliament's Standing Finance Committee. Dr. Chang also defended the government's policy of sending back Haitian refugees who arrive in Jamaica. Shalois Michael tells us more.
The situation in Haiti continues to deteriorate. Gangs have seized control of more than 80% of the capital, Port-au-Prince. Said gangs are also pushing for the removal of interim Haitian Prime Minister Dr. Ariel Henry. Dr. Henry attempted to fly back to Port-au-Prince on Tuesday, but ended up in the U.S. territory of Puerto Rico after being unable to land in the Haitian capital. The airport was under siege by armed gunmen attempting to seize control. Dr. Chang says Jamaica remains a strong international advocate for the world to deal with the Haitian crisis.
The government is taking an active and leading role in trying to get CARICOM to bring some stability to work with partners internationally and international agencies to bring some stability to Haiti and to move us back to hopefully a more sustainable governance structure. Security-wise, we just seek to protect our borders, which means increasing the level of activity in our East Coast, South and North, and also increasing our collaboration with both our security forces, contacts in Haiti as well as the other international bodies in Haiti involving security to monitor the situation there, which continues to be of distress and a challenge to the Haitian community, in particular southern Haiti, Port-au-Prince and surrounding areas.
Several Haitian refugees have already arrived on Jamaican shores fleeing the crisis. They've requested asylum, which has so far been denied. Opposition MP Julian Robinson criticized the government's willingness to send back these refugees, considering the situation on the ground.
Given the breakdown in law and order, which seems to be getting worse day by day, we're going to have more people who are fleeing maybe just out of fear for their lives. And I've been concerned about the approach we have taken in addressing those who come here as refugees. I accept that some of them may be motivated by, there may be some level of human trafficking in it, but our policy thus far has been to return them back to their shores, and we may be returning people to certain death. Given that deterioration, are we going to continue the policy of this automatic repatriation?
But Dr. Chang dismissed the concern. He notes that the area to which these refugees are being returned is far from the troubled Haitian capital.
Well, the hoping does increase, but no, the policy we pursued up to now was to return them. We didn't see any major reason because the area they're going back to in the far south, Lekai and the German Peninsula, and back to Cap Haitian in the north are areas which are relatively calm. There are no reports having any significant challenges in these areas. At the time we're doing it, and we even had members that will return, would take a few weeks and they come back again because they know the routine and they're in pretty good shape.
Shalois Michael for Nationwide News.
You're listening to Nationwide News at 5. More news after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is
14 minutes after 5.
Time to pay your tax? Relax! You've got this with your Sagicor Bank Business Credit Card. Use your Sagicor Bank Business Credit Card to pay your taxes and get a 1-month payment holiday. New cardholders get first-year annual fee waived. Plus, you get up to 55 days interest-free and earn unlimited reward points every time you spend. So when you're ready to pay your tax, relax! You've got this. Use your Sagicor Bank Business Credit Card and enjoy the best rewards ever. Conditions apply.
Did you know that many of my schoolmates have an unhealthy diet, especially at school? And now 23% of them are overweight and or obese? And so one less sugary drink at my school may mean one friend less, or 2 or 3, at risk of cavities or diabetes. And if we're served less foods high in saturated fats, sugar and sodium, it may reduce our risk from obesity, heart disease and high blood pressure. The solution is simple, right? Act now. Let's get unhealthy foods and beverages out of our schools.
A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
Continuing the news, Member of Parliament for West Central St. Catherine, Dr. Christopher Tufton, says the JLP remains doubtful about the results of the Ginger Ridge division following Wednesday's magisterial recount, which ended with the opposition PNP retaining the seat. The JLP had sought the recount after Jeremiah Edwards lost to the PNP's Ralston Wilson by 8 votes.
So today we concluded on the magisterial recount of the Ginger Ridge division of the constituency of St. Catherine West Central, where the conclusion is that the Jamaica Labour Party in the Ginger Ridge division, represented by Jeremiah Edwards, has gotten 1,111 votes to the People's National Party candidate, which according to the final magisterial recount numbers, 1,118 votes, so a 7-vote difference. The issue for us as it relates to the Ginger Ridge division is that we do not have confidence in the outcome of these numbers, this particular process, and we remain very skeptical about the end result.
Ginger Ridge was considered a stronghold for the JLP. The party held the seat for approximately 48 years. But there was an upset in the 2016 local elections after the PNP won by a margin of 18. Today, the PNP retained the seat for a second consecutive win. Dr. Tufton says the JLP will be filing an election petition.
We are not confident that the will of the people through the majority vote, one man, one vote, has been expressed. And as it is our right, we intend to take it to the next level, which is an election petition. And the lawyers have advised, so I was not present, so I go based on their evidence that they have gathered and their position, the position that they have taken.
Dr. Christopher Tufton, MP for West Central St. Catherine.
Meanwhile, the JLP has retained the Cornwall Mountain Division in central Westmoreland following last Monday's local government elections. The opposition People's National Party sought a magisterial recount of the results after the JLP's Donnet Foster polled 1,497 votes to the PNP's Abigail Malcolm, who received 1,470 ballots. That's a difference of 27. The PNP were hoping that several ballots which were accepted in the final count would have been rejected by the judge. But King's Counsel Tom Tavares Finson told our news centre that the judge ruled against the motion.
Well, we completed the magisterial recount for the Cornwall Mountain Division in Westmoreland a short while ago. Attorneys Sinclair and Brown were the persons that carried that. This morning, the resident magistrate ruled on some 60 ballots that had the top of the ballot torn, and the learned resident magistrate ruled that they were good ballots and ought to be counted and consequently the GLP councillor-elect Foster was declared the winner of the election for the Cornwall Mountain Division in Westmoreland.
Tom Tavares Finson, King's Counsel. The final count shows Foster retaining the seat by just 4 votes. She polled 1,558 votes compared to Malcolm's 1,554.
Jamaica has been named Global Destination of the Year at the prestigious travel trade show ITB in Berlin, Germany. The award was presented on Wednesday by the Pacific Area Travel Writers Association, PATWA. PATWA is a non-profit international media organization of travel writers founded in 1999. It seeks to recognize organizations, destinations, and individuals who achieved the highest standards in their field. The award was accepted by Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett. Bartlett was also bestowed with the title of Global Tourism Icon in recognition of his contribution to the tourism industry. According to PATWA, Bartlett has been at the forefront of initiatives to enhance visitor experiences, building resilience, and creating economic opportunities.
A passionate advocate for brand Jamaica. Those are the words of Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett in paying tribute to leading public relations practitioner Marcia Erskine. Mrs. Erskine passed away suddenly at her home on Wednesday night. She was 67 years old. Erskine was the managing director of the public relations agency Marcia Erskine and Associates Limited. She also served as the communications consultant for the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, JHTA. Along with public relations, Erskine also had an outstanding career in journalism. Minister Bartlett says Mrs. Erskine left an indelible mark on Jamaica and the wider Caribbean.
Her passing has really signaled the end of an important and critical period in our development. I pray that her presence with us and legacy that emanated from that present will continue to abide with us, and that our young journalists and public relations practitioners and events planners would learn greatly from what she has left behind. The footprints, indeed, which are indelibly placed on the sands of our time.
Edmund Bartlett, Tourism Minister.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
Hose Assembly and Supply Limited, equipping Jamaica for success.
The World in a Minute.
The Haitian government has extended a state of emergency and nighttime curfew in a bid to curb violent gang attacks that have paralyzed the capital Port-au-Prince. An initial 3-day curfew was announced over the weekend. But gangs have continued to attack police stations and other state institutions at night as Haiti's national police struggle to contain the violence with limited staff and resources. The attacks began a week ago, shortly after the embattled interim Prime Minister, Dr. Ariel Henry, agreed to hold general elections in mid-2025 while attending a meeting of Caribbean leaders in Guyana. Gangs have burned police stations, shut up the main international airport, which remains closed, and raided Haiti's 2 biggest prisons, freeing almost 4,000 inmates. Meanwhile, a U.S. defense official says a Marine Corps Fleet Anti-Terrorism Security Team, or FAST team, was to be deployed to Haiti to protect the U.S. Embassy. A final decision on the deployment has not yet been made.
President Joe Biden is to announce that the U.S. military will construct a port in Gaza to get more humanitarian aid into the territory by sea. A senior U.S. official says the temporary port will increase the amount of humanitarian assistance to Palestinians by hundreds of additional truckloads per day. However, they say it will not include U.S. troops on the ground in Gaza. The UN warns that a quarter of the population is on the brink of famine. The port will take a number of weeks to set up, the official said, and will be able to receive large ships carrying food, water, medicine, and temporary shelters. Initial shipments will arrive via Cyprus, where Israeli security inspections will take place. Mr. Biden is due to make the announcement during his State of the Union address tonight.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
Hose Assembly and Supply Limited, equipping Jamaica for success.
Recapping the top stories in nationwide news at this hour. Prime Minister Andrew Holness criticizes some stakeholders who he says exploited the reckless policies of former PNP government and are now posing as business gurus and experts on the economy.
And the Prime Minister says one of the biggest challenges facing his government is increasing the country's productivity.
The challenge I face is how to get the public bureaucracy to increase its speed of delivery.
National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says Jamaica is leading the way in finding a diplomatic solution to the Haitian crisis.
The JLP has retained the Cornwall Mountain Division in central Westmoreland but lost Ginger Ridge in west central St. Catherine following magisterial recounts.
I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app available on Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
News at 5 was brought to you by the new Crunch Sandwich from KFC. Available in hot and spicy or barbecue for just $600. A finger-licking good deal at KFC.
More savings, more choices. Get active with Active Home Center. The one-stop shop for everything for your home. We have more savings, more choices, unbelievable prices. Wide selection with the latest style. The kitchen, bathroom, right down to the tile. Buy the hottest items on spot, don't miss out. Best options under one roof, no doubt. More savings, more choices.
Visit us in store or online at www.activehomecenter.com.
We have more savings, more choices.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Jamaica will go in search of their third victory in as many games at the West Indies Women's Cricket Championships in St. Kitts tomorrow. The Stephanie Taylor-led outfit will face Trinidad and Tobago Divas at the Connery Ground starting at 9 a.m. Jamaica time. The Jamaica team leads the standings with 12 points after easy victories over the Leeward Islands and Barbados, the champions. The Guyanese will also look to extend their 100% record when they face champions Barbados at St. Paul's, while the Windward Islands and the Leeward Islands will clash at Warner Park. Former champions Cavalier will make a second attempt this week at regaining top spot in the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League when they face another ex-champion Arnott Gardens in a rescheduled game at the Tony Spalding Sports Complex this evening at 7. Cavalier are currently in second place in the standings on 44 points, 2 behind leaders in champions Mount Pleasant Academy, and a win would move them back to the summit with just 5 rounds to go in the regular season. Arnott are currently on a 3-game winning streak and could further solidify their place in the top 6 if they manage to win this evening. Coach of Jamaica's senior men's football team, Heimer Halgrimson, says local players' development are being dwarfed due to poor infrastructure and continuous coaching education. Halgrimson noticed the challenges during his tour of the island, hosting coaching clinics and matches. He says those 2 pillars are the foundation of a country's football program.
All parishes, they complained about the services they were using or they had access to or even they didn't have access to. So that was in common. And I would say for players' development, the 2 most important ingredients is coaching education and the facility to coach football. So only with changing these 2 factors, the development of football players will be totally different, much quicker, faster, and we will produce much better players. I think that will skyrocket the development of football players in Jamaica. There's a lot of other factors, but if these 2 are lacking, there will always be a hurdle that is difficult to jump over.
National Senior Football Team coach Heimer Halgrimson. The Inter-Secondary School Sports Association, ISSA, will debut a new concept in how the broadcasting of Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Championships this year is distributed. For the first time, ISSA will stage an official watch party for the event, and it will be at Morris Jerk Centre in Tollgate, Clarendon. Chairman of the organizing committee for the meet, Richard Thompson, says if the execution is successful, they'll be open to looking at other venues around the country going forward.
making an effort to bring champs to persons who don't have a ticket. And so that watch party that we are executing in Clarendon, we are testing it to see if we're able to identify other venues in the coming years.
Richard Thompson, principal of Titchfield High School and chairman of the organizing committee for Boys and Girls Champs. The meet is set for March 19 to 23, with 101 boys teams registered to participate and 97 girls team battling in 88 finals. Title sponsors Grace Kennedy will award a cash prize of $202,000 to the school of any athlete who breaks a 200 meters record at the championship. Grace's direct sponsorship will be $100 million, with a further $78 million from its subsidiary companies. The ISA ticket office will only be selling bleachers ticket. Let me repeat. Only bleachers ticket will be sold at the ticket offices. All other tickets will only be available online. That's sports. We're going to be back with more at 6:05.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hyundai, the home of modern, premium, affordable vehicles. Call us at 876-630-1511. The time by Hyundai is
5:30.
Love, care for, and protect our women and girls.
We are your family. We are your friends. Don't hurt us.
End violence against women and girls.
The temperature by the Office of the Prime Minister is
29 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 28 in the western city, Montego Bay.
JampJA.org. Mind the business JA with Jump Online. Are your business? They keep your government in line.
Funded by the European Union and the UK International Development.
Bun to me cheese, bun to me cheese. Give me yummy, bun to me cheese, bun to me cheese. Give me yummy, don't stop at just a one slice, please. No other bun, perfect for me. Yummy, for real Jamaican flavor and quality for sure. This Easter, make yummy the bun to your cheese. Yummy, give me yummy, yummy. Give me yummy, for the Easter, yummy bun zeta, yummy for me family, yummy for me sir. Bun to me cheese, bun to me cheese, yummy, bun to me cheese, bun to me cheese. Best bun, give me yummy.
If you are a parliamentarian or a public official listed in the Jamaica Gazette December 5, 2023 regarding the Integrity Commission Act, or a public official receiving emoluments of $12 million or more during the period January 1, 2023 to December 31, 2023, you must file your statutory declarations as at December 31, 2023 and any outstanding statutory declarations on or before March 31. Download the updated statutory declarations form from the Integrity Commission's website at integrity.gov.jm/statutory declarations. Ask your Human Resource or Administration Division for further information. A message from the Integrity Commission. The National Land Agency (NLA) is advising members of the public to be cautious of persons or organizations purporting to be employees of the agency. All employees of the NLA must present identification when conducting business on its behalf. To confirm an officer's identity, you may contact the agency at 876-750-5263. You may also visit the agency's website at nla.gov.jm for further information. The public is also being reminded to report any suspicious activity to the nearest police station. The NLA appreciates your kind understanding and cooperation.
Sandwich from KFC. Great flavor, great price. It's for me. KFC signature, hot and spicy. Chicken with the lettuce, mayo, fries, and Pepsi. We've got you covered when you're hungry. The new crunch sandwich from KFC. We've got you covered when you're hungry. The new crunch sandwich from KFC.
Hungry for deals? Get the new crunch sandwich combo from KFC. A small hot and spicy chicken sandwich with lettuce and mayo, plus fries and a Pepsi for just $600. Also available in barbecue. A finger-licking good deal. KFC.
Know your numbers and take control of your life. Don't wait till it's too late. Check your doctor today. Yeah. Get the BMI check, your blood pressure check, your blood sugar and cholesterol check. We're living well when we stay on top of our health. Know your numbers and take control of your life. Don't wait till it's too late. Check your doctor today. Know your numbers and take control. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
The Olympic Games 2024 live from Paris in France, exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
The Jamaican star shines bright once again.
Live here halfway through the Olympic finals.
This summer, Nationwide 90 FM is coming in hot.
Jamaica to the Blacks!
Nationwide 90 FM will be blazing as we bring you the games of the 33rd Olympiad live from the French capital, Paris. 16 fantastic days of competition in 41 sports.
Noveline Williams-Mills coming, McCrory flapping, her arms are waving, and Noveline Williams-Mills coming through for Jamaica's goal.
The station will bring you analysis and live coverage from the opening day of competition, Friday, July 26th to the very last day of action on Sunday, August 11th.
And some parchment! Let's go! Oh, what a run!
Everything and anything Paris Olympic Games 2024 can be heard right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
It is a glittering gold for Sharika Jackson, and how they will celebrate that back in Jamaica.
We'll capture the spirit of athleticism. We'll narrate the Olympic fever, define thrilling moments, and report on the blood, sweat, and tears of the world's greatest athletes. Nationwide 90 FM is going to the Paris Olympic Games, and we're taking you with us. Tune into Nationwide 90.3, 90.5, 90.7 and 90.9 for live updates and commentary. We'll be giving the listeners a front row seat to witness excitement, triumph and memories.
And I think it was a clean sweep for the Jamaicans.
Stay tuned to Nationwide 90 FM 24/7. Experience the Paris Olympic Games 2024 right here on the Revolution in Media Nationwide 90 FM, your Olympic Center. Exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
Nationwide 90 FM, the station for the very latest in news and current affairs, will broadcast live the opening budget presentation by the Minister of Finance and the Public Service, the Honorable Dr. Nigel Clark. On Tuesday, March 12, Dr. Clark will put forward the government's plans to finance the budget for 2024 to 2025. That's a live broadcast of Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark's opening budget presentation, Tuesday, March 12, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Due to this live broadcast, the E-Zone will not be aired on Tuesday, March 12.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
We've been a part of everyday Jamaican life for over 25 years. From paydays to birthdays, unexpected emergencies to anniversary celebrations, the supermarket checkout line, or paying a bill or taxes on time. Our fast, secure debit network provides reliable service so you can always depend on Multilink. Jamaican and proud, fast, secure, everywhere.
Good afternoon. It's 5:37 on Thursday, the 7th of March. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And I'm Franklin McKnight.
Good afternoon, Franklin. It's been a long time. The Monday, as Tara would say, the Monday called teacher.
It's been a long time, but I'm happy to be here.
Okay, we're going to be touching on more election matters, more local government election matters. There is a bit of a standoff in the Ginger Ridge division for the West Central St. Catherine constituency, where Member of Parliament Dr. Christopher Tufton says the JLP remains doubtful about the results in several divisions in the constituency following the February 26 local government elections. In Ginger Ridge, the JLP has sought a recount after Jeremiah Edwards lost to the PNP's Ralston Wilson by 8 votes.
So today we concluded on the magisterial recount of the Ginger Ridge division of the constituency of St. Catherine West Central, where the conclusion is that the Jamaica Labour Party in the Ginger Ridge division, represented by Jeremiah Edwards, has gotten 1,111 votes to the People's National Party candidate, which according to the final magisterial recount numbers, 1,118 votes, so a 7-vote difference. The issue for us as it relates to the Ginger Ridge division is that we do not have confidence in the outcome of these numbers, this particular process, and we remain very skeptical about the end result.
That's Christopher Tufton. In 2016, the PNP had won that seat by a margin of 18 votes when they then retained the seat for a second consecutive win this afternoon. Dr. Tufton says the JLP will be filing an election petition.
We are not confident that the will of the people through the majority vote, one man, one vote, has been expressed. And as it is our right, we intend to take it to the next level, which is an election petition. And the lawyers have advised, so I was not present, so I go based on their evidence that they have gathered and their position, the position that they have taken.
That's Dr. Christopher Tufton.
Dr. Christopher Tufton.
He joins us now to discuss this further. Good afternoon, Dr. Tufton.
Hi, how are you?
Doing quite well. Dr. Tufton, this is quite extraordinary. I know it's happened before, but most times it goes to a magisterial recount. That's the last we hear of it. But now you have decided to go further. What exactly are your concerns about the process? Because you've raised the process into question.
So let me clarify a few things just for context. Firstly, the constituency of West Central St. Catherine has 4 divisions. We won 3 of the 4, which we held, and with a majority of 2,000 votes. So the will of the people in terms of an absolute number of votes for the constituency is not in question. They prefer the Jamaica Labour Party, and in this case, stewardship of myself as MP. The 4th, the Ginger Ridge division is one of 4, and that's the one where we have a number of issues, which led to my comments today. That division, as an incumbent who has been around for a very long time, is the actual deputy mayor of the St. Catherine Municipal Authority. Yes, last time we lost by about 18, I think it's 16 votes. I had actually won it in my general by over 300 votes. So we do have critical support on the ground in the constituency, in the division. The challenge with the situation here is that on the night of the elections, we won it by 12 votes. Then at the final count, which is the count that takes place at the electoral office in Kitson Town, we lost it by 8. And we lost it by 8 because ballots were not accepted, which previously we thought should have been based on the marcation on the ballot. We felt that there were sufficient ballots which clearly showed voter intent, and there's a long history with that, which I think has to be dealt with in legislation. But the truth is, in many jurisdictions, once the voter intent is determined, through a tick, for example, as opposed to an X is accepted. Nevertheless, we're placed at a disadvantage with that. So we decided to go to the magisterial recount. A day after the formal count, the returning officer somehow identified a ballot in support of the opponent. She called our representative to say that she found this ballot and she was going to add it to one of the boxes. We objected. She did it nevertheless. When we went to the magisterial recount, a number of irregularities were identified. We had 3 lawyers at the final count who took copious notes on all the rejected ballots with the intention of raising our issues at the magisterial recount at the courts. Though many of those ballots were obviously tampered with when they reached to the courts. So, for example, a ballot with 1 tick beside our candidate's name, which we intended to add showed voter intent, ended up with 2 ticks at the courthouse, clearly indicating that some additional marcation was added to the particular ballot. The envelopes, the seals were missing, which meant access to the ballots during the period of time from the final count to the magisterial recount. There were issues around access to keys, which would open the boxes, suggesting a breach of security around securing those ballots. A statement of poll was missing. And in one case, ballots had the missing signature of the presiding officer. It was torn off. We had to argue. We did get the court to admit some of those ballots. But it further reinforced in our minds, or certainly in the minds of the attorneys. 5 attorneys presided over the recount on our side in the courts, the magisterial recount, that there were sufficient evidence to suggest that the security of the ballots between the final count in Kitson Town and the recount and the magisterial recount was not guaranteed, and there was enough evidence to support the likelihood and in some instances tangible evidence to support ballot tampering, which is a very serious breach, and it to our mind challenges or undermines the will of the people, which is the substantial point that I believe we need to pursue. I have no issues if the process is fair and the people choose a candidate that is not my own. But in this instance, we feel very strongly that the process had too many loopholes, and there is evidence that a lot could have happened between the final count and the magisterial recount.
Okay. Stay with us before you go on, Franklin. Stay with us. We have a break. Dr. Tufton, we'll be right back.
Get up to $1 million off everything. With the Mitsubishi $1 million sale. Price a splash, save cash, run, come catch the Mitsubishi $1 million sale. Get up to $1 million off on your brand new Mitsubishi ASX or Pajero Sport with the Mitsubishi $1 million sale. Plus 3 years warranty, 2 years free servicing, and 1 year free Amber Tracker. Follow us on social media at Mitsubishi JA for more info. Hurry up and come get this deal while stocks last. Only at Stewart's Automotive Group, South Camp Road, Kingston, and Iron Shore Bay. Conditions apply.
Government pensioners, the Accountant General's Department Mobile Life Certificate Drive is coming to your parish. We'll be in St. Thomas and St. Mary on March 1. On March 2, we'll be in Portmore. March 4 in St. Elizabeth. On March 5 in Hanover. And March 6, Westmoreland. Trelawney pensioners, the AGD will see you on March 7. St. Anne on March 8. Spanish Town on March 9. Portland on March 11. And we'll make our final stops in Clarendon and Manchester on March 12. Remember, life certificates can be submitted at the St. James Parish Library, Ministry of Finance, and the AGD office at 21 Dominica Drive using the electronic drop box. For more information, visit our website at treasury.gov.jm.
5:46, and we're doing more elections discussions. West Central St. Catherine, Dr. Christopher Tufton is the Member of Parliament, where he's raised some serious concerns about the Ginger Ridge division, where the PNP's candidate won by just, I believe, 8 votes. Franklin, you had a question for Dr. Tufton.
Yes, Dr. Tufton, so you are not saying, you are not objecting to what the magistrate found. You are objecting more to what went before the magistrate. Is that correct?
Well, substantially, yes. And as a consequence, the integrity of the process, which clearly is fundamental to the democratic principles that we are.
And you are saying something went wrong in the keeping of the ballots or in the care of the ballots with the EOJ.
All along the way, we were careful have attorneys to oversee the process. We had 3 at the Kitson Town electoral office, along with 2 other support groups. The other party had one attorney and 2 others. And we took notes on all the objections raised. Now, clearly at that level, we felt that some of those objections should be considered in our favor. But there is a process. If it's rejected there, then we take it to the next level. So the notes were important. Having taken those notes and then the process to the next level, we found inconsistencies with what existed at the office, the electoral office in Kitson Town, with what was unveiled at the courtroom in Spanish Town.
That is essentially questioning Dr. Tufton. What happened while the ballots were in the care of the EOJ officials?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, apologies for that.
And you seem to also be...
There's a process as to how ballots are stored and secured. For starters, the seal should be very evident. Envelopes should be sealed, not stapled. Marks that are on a ballot should remain that way when it moves to the next level. And we believe other marks were added, which would render that particular ballot null and void, which therefore, makes a difference. And this is the real concern I have. It's a big part of it is my own role as a chairman of a constituency that I need to represent their best interests, whatever decision they take, in this case, that division. But it also, to my mind, has significant implications for the integrity of the electoral process, which we have worked very hard for as a country. And to me, it needs ventilation. And I've made a call today for the EOJ, the Electoral Office of Jamaica, to investigate the matter based on those observations that we have had. But clearly, from a election standpoint and in preservation of the democratic principles, we believe it should go to the next level, where a judge should listen to the evidence and make a determination as to whether this election should be thrown out in this particular division.
And just this question, Dr. Tufton, was there any issues on the day with the process itself, on the election day?
Issues such as?
Such as voting itself, in the conduct of the elections themselves.
I did not observe any unusual issue. I mean, people were, I was all over the constituency. Remember now, this is just one geographic sub-region. And I was in and out in different areas. We did very well in the other three divisions, winning by 700 in two cases and 500 plus in another. So I did not discern that there was anything unusual, except like as is expected, both parties were busy trying to get voters out. But having counted those at the polling stations and submitted those which showed an advantage for us, the turnaround on the day after, at the final count, we were very anxious to observe and why, and took appropriate note of those that were rejected or not included, which led to the magisterial recount request, which led to what has transpired today. And it's part of the process that is allowed, which we are happy for. What we're doing is signaling our intention to go further. But in all of this, to state in a much broader way the need for this situation to be examined with the hope of making a better process. And there are several areas that I think we could promulgate to make the process a better process. One of which is the determination of voter intent. This idea of a tick versus X. Now, I know this has been on the table for a while. In fairness to the EOJ, they have it has been a part of a recommendation that we as legislators need to move on. Where you have a close election, as in this case, not just here in Ginger Ridge, but other parts of the country, it really does matter. And I think we need to act on it speedily, outside of this particular case.
Before we go to the matter of legislative adjustments, Dr. Tufton, when you are going to the Supreme Court for this is not a simple matter of you quibbling over a handful of votes. You have very serious concerns about the process by which the EOJ has managed the post-election counting and distribution of ballots. So at the end of the day, you're seeking for a by-election essentially in that division.
If that protects the integrity of the process and allows the one man, one vote principle to be reflected, even if we come out not being victors, even if it reaffirms the numbers or widens them, I would be a lot more comfortable than to always have a shadow of doubt over the process where people feel that they have been unfairly treated. To me, that is dangerous, not just for this case, but dangerous as a precedent for future elections in Jamaica. And you do recall, maybe not you're too young to recall, but there was a time when the electoral process was in disarray, and it not only cost votes and a reflection of votes, the turnout, it also cost lives. And that's not where we would ever want to go back to. When people feel that an injustice has been done, they can resort to other things. And we don't want to go back there. So my view is, as simple as this may seem, because it's one division of 227, it raises serious questions, and it should be at least investigated thoroughly and a conclusion drawn to ensure that it is not only done justice, that is, but it is perceived to be done.
And do you, Dr. Tufton, how would you respond to someone who says Dr. Tufton has just been a sore loser in this division, in a constituency which he won, and the process has been gone through, and he's just been a sore loser? How would you respond to that?
It's a free country. I'm sure some people will say that, and the detractors will certainly try to say that. We lost the division by 16 votes the last local election. I won it by over 300. So I'm very confident, certainly in terms of my own stewardship, because I won it twice, both the 2016 election and the 2020 election, by well over 300 in both cases. On the local level, municipal level, we lost by 16, and now this result of a 7-vote difference. I am confident in terms of our stewardship, what we're doing. Things are not perfect, but I believe we have done enough work and have other things to come. So it's not a matter of a sore loser, because we're ahead of the curve. It really is a fundamental right and principle which we expose and are sworn to protect, which is freedom of choice. And I'm saying that in this instance, based on the evidence that the lawyers have gathered, because they are the ones who I depend on their advice, I think we need to go all the way and ventilate the issue, whatever the outcome ultimately.
And onto that bigger picture that you raised, Dr. Tufton, this matter of an X versus a tick versus a circle, that ball is essentially in the court of the Holiness Administration if they are willing to bring that legislative adjustment. Have you brought that up with the cabinet?
Well, it has been brought up several times, but one of the big champions of that has been Mr. Abraham Warmington. I must recognize him for that. Yes, it is an issue that I think we need to deal with. And yes, the ball is in our court as government and opposition, actually. It's a legislative process. And the closeness of these elections, with all the contentions that have ensued post-elections and the recounts and magisterial recounts and possibly other petitions being filed, it demonstrates that we have to take whatever additional steps that are necessary, some on the table already, to make the process more transparent. And I think that's obvious. So I'm not saying anything new. And yes, I'm prepared to accept some responsibility as part of the collective to make that matter a priority matter going forward.
And just
Dr. Tufton, are you aware of any other petition being filed out of these elections on your side?
No, I'm not. I've been more concerned with my area and this particular division. I know there are a lot of magisterial recounts going on. I'm not aware of any decision around other things, but I wanted to signal our intention today, having consulted with the lawyers, and indicate at least why, in a general way, we think it's necessary. And as I said, I am all for the majority position. So if it ends up that way, we will respect it and we will abide by it. That's not the issue. The issue is to ensure that that position is a true reflection and that the system and the integrity of the system is maintained.
So my final question on this is that you are expecting, as a fair outcome, the holding of a by-election in this division.
Well, at this point, it appears to me, given that ballots appear to have been spoiled and therefore not qualify for reconsideration, it certainly is one of the options. So let us see what happens. Beyond that, I would like to see the Electoral Office of Jamaica, Mr. Brown and his team, probe the reasons why envelopes were not sealed, keys could not be found, polling statement of poll can't be found, ballot added to a box the day after final count, refusal of the returning officer to provide us with the final count when the final count was completed, and then adding an additional ballot in favor of the opponent the day after, saying that she found it somewhere. I mean, all of these things to me are abnormal. They're irregular, and that does not augur well for the confidence. Certainly, I can tell you, I don't have confidence in the electoral office in my constituency and the high-level personnel that are involved at this point until an appropriate explanation or otherwise is provided as to why this could be possible and why it took place. There are too many breaches.
And this is directly out of this particular exercise, Dr. Tufton?
Sorry?
The loss of confidence, is it out of this particular exercise or was this before?
No.
Loss of confidence.
Out of this particular exercise. You see, it doesn't really matter sometimes if you win by a large majority. So maybe we did not bother to have lawyers at the 700 and 500 win because, even if you lost a few votes, it would not have mattered. When it comes down to the closeness of a number, it becomes very critical. And the truth is we really should pay attention to all the numbers because people's votes are important to be reflected the way they intended them. But up until this point, we didn't have an issue. I know there have been some personnel changes since the last election. We do have an issue now, certainly as it relates to this particular polling.
Okay, Dr. Christopher Tufton, he is the West Central St. Catherine Member of Parliament and the Minister of Health. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Tufton.
It's now 6 o'clock, time for the news.
Cover story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Say hello to peace of mind and goodbye to worry with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider Plan and secure your medical expenses in the event of critical illness today. Call 888-367-5433 for details.
The time by Guardian Life is
6:01.
Upgrade your kitchen and bathroom to the next level with Unique Living. They're the ultimate destination for all your kitchen and bathroom needs, from luxurious shower systems to exquisite faucets, vanities, sinks, toilets, closets, and more. They have it all. Visit shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10, or call them at 876-755-3661. Elevate your space with Unique Living, where quality meets expectations.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has slammed some stakeholders who he says exploited the reckless policies of a former PNP administration to ensure their own corporate success, but now pose as business gurus and experts on the economy.
If you were a bank, if you were an investment house, if you were a securities dealer, if you were in any way minded to do investments, did not have to think of a new product, a new app. You didn't have to innovate. All you needed to do was to take the little money that you have. And they say invest, but that's not what they were doing. That's not investing precisely. They just lend it to the government.
The Prime Minister says his administration has placed Jamaica on a stable economic platform that encourages entrepreneurship and economic growth. He says it's important that the younger generation appreciate what transpired in Jamaica's financial sector under the PNP in the 1990s.
Jamaica had an inflation rate of 77% in 1 year. 77%. We're quarreling about, just after the pandemic, we went up as high as 12, and we're now at about 5, they're about 6, we're hovering somewhere there. 77%. I'm looking at the audience, at the young people there who would have been around in the 1990s, or may not have been born even in 1992, 1993, would know nothing about this. But that is where we're coming from. 77% inflation in 1 year under the government of the people who would want to tell this administration how to manage inflation.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says Jamaica is leading the way in finding a diplomatic solution to the Haitian crisis.
The government is taking an active and leading role in trying to get CARICOM to bring some stability to work with partners internationally and international agencies to bring some stability to Haiti and to move us back to hopefully a more sustainable governance structure. Security-wise, we just seek to protect our borders, which means increasing the level of activity in our East Coast, South and North, and also increasing our collaboration with both our security forces contacts in Haiti as well as the other international bodies in Haiti involving security to monitor the situation there, which continues to be of distress and a challenge to the Haitian community, in particular southern Haiti, Port-au-Prince and surrounding areas.
Several Haitian refugees have already arrived on Jamaican shores fleeing the crisis. They've requested asylum, which has so far been denied. Dr. Chang says the area to which these refugees are being returned is far from the troubled Haitian capital.
Well, we're hoping it does increase, but the policy we pursued up to now was to return them. We didn't see any major reason because the areas they're going back to in the far south, Lekai and the German Peninsula, and back to Cap Haitian in the north are areas which are relatively calm. There are no reports of any significant challenges in these areas. At the time we're doing it, and we even had members that will return, would take a few weeks and they come back again because they know the routine and they're in pretty good shape.
Dr. Horace Chang, Minister of National Security. Member of Parliament for West Central St. Catherine, Dr. Christopher Tufton, says the JLP remains doubtful about the results in the Ginger Ridge division following Wednesday's magisterial recount, which ended with the opposition PNP retaining the seat. The JLP had sought the recount after Jeremiah Edwards lost to the PNP's Ralston Smith by a margin of approximately 8 votes.
So today we concluded on the magisterial recount of the Ginger Ridge division of the constituency of St. Catherine West Central, where the conclusion is that the Jamaica Labour Party in the Ginger Ridge division, represented by Jeremiah Edwards, has gotten 1,111 votes to the People's National Party candidate, which according to the final magisterial recount numbers, 1,118 votes, so a 7-vote difference. The issue for us as it relates to the Ginger Ridge division is that we do not have confidence in the outcome of these numbers, this particular process, and we remain very skeptical about the end result.
Dr. Tufton says the JLP will be filing an election petition.
We are not confident that the will of the people through the majority vote, one man, one vote, has been expressed. And as it is our right, we intend to take it to the next level, which is an election petition. And the lawyers have advised, so I was not present, so I go based on their evidence that they have gathered and their position, the position that they have taken.
Dr. Christopher Tufton, MP for West Central St. Catherine. Meanwhile, the JLP has retained the Cornwall Mountain Division in central Westmoreland following last Monday's local government elections. The PNP sought a magisterial recount of the results after the JLP's Donette Foster polled 1,497 votes to the PNP's Abigail Malcolm, who received 1,470 ballots. The PNP were hoping that several ballots which were accepted in the final count would have been rejected by the judge. But King's Counsel Tom Tavares Finson told our news centre that the judge ruled against the motion.
Well, we completed the magisterial recount for the Cornwall Mountain Division in Westmoreland a short while ago. Attorneys Sinclair and Brown were the persons that carried that. This morning, the resident magistrate ruled on some 60 ballots that had the top of the ballot torn, and the learned resident magistrate ruled that they were good ballots and ought to be counted. And consequently, the JLP Councillor-elect Foster was declared the winner of the election for the Cornwall Mountain Division in Westmoreland.
Tom Tavares Finson, King's Counsel. The final count shows Foster retaining the seat by just 4 votes. She polled 1,558 votes compared to Malcolm's 1,554. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Sports is next.
Does your bra ride up your back? Do your shoulders hurt from carrying the weight of your breasts? These are signs of an ill-fitting bra. When was the last time you were fitted by a bra fit specialist? The bra experts at La Belle Femme will take care of you. Drop into the store at 53 Lady Musgrave Road, Tuesdays to Saturdays from 10 to 5, and you will see the difference. Or call 876-622-6091.
Did you know that many of my schoolmates have an unhealthy diet, especially at school? And now 23% of them are overweight and or obese? And so one less sugary drink at my school may mean one friend less,
or 2 or 3,
at risk of cavities or diabetes. And if we're served less foods high in saturated fats, sugar and sodium, it may reduce our risk from obesity, heart disease and high blood pressure.
The solution is simple, right? Act now.
Let's get unhealthy foods and beverages out of our schools.
A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
Time to pay your tax? Relax! You've got this with your Sagicor Bank Business Credit Card. Use your Sagicor Bank Business Credit Card to pay your taxes and get a 1-month payment holiday. New cardholders get first-year annual fee waived. Plus, you get up to 55 days interest-free and earn unlimited reward points every time you spend. So when you're ready to pay your tax, relax! You've got this. Use your Sagicor Bank Business Credit Card and enjoy the best rewards ever. Conditions apply.
Good evening with your sports report. I am Alric Swiby. We bowl things off with some cricket as Jamaica will go in search of their third victory in as many games at the West Indies Women's Championships in St. Kitts tomorrow. The Stephanie Taylor-led outfit will face the Trinidad and Tobago Divas at the Canary Ground starting at 9 a.m. Jamaica time. The Jamaica team leads the standings with 12 points after easy victories over the Leeward Islands and Barbados. The Guyanese will also look to extend their 100% record when they face champions Barbados at St. Paul's, while the Windward Islands and the Leeward Islands clash at Warner Park. Veteran cricket commentator Joseph Reg Pereira says he was surprised at the decision by Cricket West Indies (CWI) not to make any change to the men's selection panel until after the ICC T20 World Cup in June. According to media reports, the selection panels and systems are currently undergoing a thorough review led by Director of Cricket Miles Bascom. CWI indicated that there are no immediate plans to replace Roland Boucher, the Barbados-born former England batsman, serving on the panel. They emphasized that the selection process for the upcoming T20 World Cup will involve input from head coach Darren Sammy, incumbent T20 captain Rovman Powell, and lead selector Desmond Haynes. Pereira says any modification to the existing policy cannot be implemented until after July 1.
Well, I was almost shocked. I couldn't believe that a respected West Indies cricket nation over the years will not, in fact, put in place a more broad-based West Indies panel. And it puts a lot of pressure on Desmond Haynes to be the sole selector. One would think that they could have gone to some new blood, and let's say Leon Johnson, that they could have looked towards including a Jeffrey Dujon, a Lockhart Sebastian, a Tony Gray from Trinidad and Tobago. We need greater input into the selection policy. And I'm so surprised that with a World Cup team to be picked and then, of course, a test squad to go to England, that we could have taken such a decision. The only one test playing nation in the world with a one-man selection panel.
Joseph Reg Pereira. No Clarendon College advanced to the semi-final of the Issa Schoolboy Headley Cup cricket competition after beating Cornwall College by 377 runs in their quarter-final action today. Batting first, Clarendon College made 414 for 9 declared. Canada Cameron made 217, which included 24 fours and 12 sixes, while Giovanni Palmer made 55. Jodine Williams took 4 wickets for Cornwall College. In reply, Cornwall College were bowled out for 37. Taekwon Roberts took 5 wickets for Clarendon College. This is how Cricket Forum described the final play.
Roberts makes his way in, up to the wicket and bowled to Gale, and Gale is bowled! Clarendon College have won, been bowling out Cornwall for 37, having made 414, and this match ends on its first day. And Clarendon College are on their way to the semi-finals of the Headley Cup cricket.
Now on to footballs. Former champions Cavalier will make a second attempt this week at regaining top spot in the Ray and Never Jamaica Premier League when they face another ex-champion Onyx Gardens in a rescheduled game at the Tony Spalding Complex this evening at 7. Cavalier are currently in second place in the standings on 44 points, 2 behind leaders and champions Mount Pleasant Academy, and a win would move them back to the summit with just 5 rounds to go in the regular season. Arnett are currently on a 3-game winning streak and could further solidify their place in the top 6. Coach of Jamaica's senior men's football team, Hamir Halgrimson, says local players' development are being dwarfed due to poor infrastructure and a lack of continuous coaching education. Halgrimson noticed the challenge during his tour of the island, hosting coaching clinics and matches. He says those 2 pillars are the foundation of a country's football program.
All parishes, they complained about the services they were using or they had access to or even they didn't have access to. So that was in common. And I would say for players' development, the 2 most important ingredients is coaching education and the facility to coach football. So only with changing these 2 factors, the development of football players will be totally different, much quicker, faster, and we will produce much better players. I think that will skyrocket the development of football players in Jamaica. There's a lot of other factors, but if these 2 are lacking, there will always be a hurdle that is difficult to jump over.
Hamir Halgrimson. Liverpool effectively booked their place in the quarter-finals of the Europa League with a 5-1 hammering of Sparta Prague in the first leg of their round of 16 tie today. The job was good as done by half-time in Prague after Alexis McAllister opened the scoring inside 6 minutes from the penalty spot, and Darwin Núñez then fired in a superb brace before the break.
And McAllister scores. He made absolutely sure he was ready. The preparation was intense and has just become enormously difficult, as if it wasn't hard enough already. Darwin Núñez takes it on and scores a beauty. Now Darwin Núñez, who knows where the goal is, and he's found it again. 3-0 Liverpool. Gives Birmancevic a run, and he's in front of Quansah, and it's into his own net from Bradley. Sparta have a goal back, says Szoboszlai, and Szoboszlai has beaten Vindal, and it is now 5-1 Liverpool, and there'll be no ruling that out.
In other results, Roma beat Brighton 4-0, AC Milan beat Slavia Prague 4-2, Rangers held Benfica to a 2-2 draw, Freiburg edged West Ham 1-0, Marseille blanked Villarreal 4-0, and German leaders Bayern Leverkusen drew with Karabakh 2-2. Now on to athletics, as the Inter-Secondary School Sports Association ISA will debut a new concept in how the broadcasting of Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Athletics Championships is distributed. For the first time, ISA will stage an official watch party for the event, and it will be at Maurice Dirk Center in Tollgate, Clarendon. Chairman of the organizing committee for the meet, Richard Thompson, says if the execution is successful, they will be open to looking at other venues around the country going forward.
Making an effort to bring champs to persons who don't have a ticket. And so that watch party that we are executing in Clarendon, we are testing it to see if we're able to identify other venues in the coming years.
Richard Thompson, principal of Titchfield High School and the chairman of the organizing committee for the Boys and Girls Champs. The meet is set for March 19 to 23 with 101 boys teams registered to participate and 97 girls teams batting in 88 finals. Title sponsors Grace Kennedy will award a cash prize of $202,000 to the school of any athlete who breaks a 200 meters record at Champs. Grace's direct sponsorship will be $100 million with a further $78 million from its subsidiary companies. The ISA ticket office will only be selling bleachers tickets. All other tickets will only be available online. And finally, Olympic 110 meters hurdles champion Hansel Parchment announced he'll open his season in April. Parchment won gold at the Tokyo Olympics and bronze at the 2012 Summer Games. Parchment is looking to become the 4th Jamaican to repeat as Olympic champion. The former Kingston College star says he's meticulously preparing for the big dance in Paris, adding that he's not in a rush to go on the circuit.
Preparing for the season. It's going to be a long season, and I want to make sure that everything is done right. Don't want to rush anything. I should be opening sometime next month, all being well. So you can look forward to that. No, I haven't decided yet. We're doing it, but when that time comes, we will see. Everything good at the moment, thank God, and we really want to keep it like that. And that is why I'm focusing on just being patient and taking it a stride at a time to get prepared.
Parchment says the national championships and the Olympics are his main focus this year.
How best to put it? We're not ready as yet. You know what I mean? As I said, we're being patient and taking it in strides. The aim is to be ready for the trials. That's the most important thing right now. So that's where the focus is, and we are, as I say, preparing for that as a main event. And afterwards, of course, the Olympics.
He says the IOC should think about adopting World Athletics model and introduce the wildcard system.
It's kind of tough to say because 4 years is a long time, not like the World Championships, which are much shorter time. It's something that they could consider. It would benefit a lot of people, including myself, of course. But everybody should run for the spot.
Hansel Parchment, I'm Alric Swiby, that's your sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:20.
Need to make a change to your title or need a title? Geoland Title Limited. They do lost title application, add and remove names from titles, wills, estates. First-time registration land surveys also included, affordable rates and flexible payment options. NLA adjudication and land titling waivers also available. They have 8 locations island-wide. Call 876-754-6436 or visit their website at geolandonline.com. Geoland Title Limited. Secure your land, secure your title.
Government pensioners, the Accountant General's Department Mobile Life Certificate Drive is coming to your parish. We'll be in St. Thomas and St. Mary on March 1. On March 2, we'll be in Portmore, March 4 in St. Elizabeth, on March 5 in Hanover, and March 6 Westmoreland. Trelawney pensioners, the AGD will see you on March 7, St. Anne on March 8, Spanish Town on March 9, Portland on March 11, and we'll make our final stops in Clarendon and Manchester on March 12. Remember, life certificates can be submitted at the St. James Parish Library, Ministry of Finance, and the AGD office at 21 Dominica Drive using the electronic drop box. For more information, visit our website at treasury.gov.jm.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robianne Williams, a special one going to our friends on our YouTube platform. Thank you for always tuning in. We invite you to weigh in live on the comment section on today's Public Opinion. It's the big news from yesterday. Of course, out of court, Portland businessman Everton Beachy Stout MacDonald was found guilty of the July 2020 murder of his second wife, Tonia Hamilton MacDonald. We've been following this one for 6 months now. A 7-member jury returned a unanimous guilty verdict on Wednesday at the Home Circuit Court in downtown Kingston. Beachy Stout's co-accused, Oscar Barnes, was also found guilty of the murder. For the charge of conspiracy to murder, Beachy Stout and Barnes were found guilty. Beachy Stout and Barnes have been on trial in the Home Circuit Court since September 2023. The curtains came down yesterday. Tonia's partially burnt body was found in her car, which had been set ablaze in Sherwood Forest, Portland on July 20, 2020. Her body had multiple stab wounds, and her throat was slashed. The men will be sentenced on May 16. So, in public opinion, today we're asking your reaction to Beachy Stout being found guilty of his second wife's murder. Let's see the comments on our social media platform right away. On Facebook, Anthony Sheikh says the man is heartless and should pay for his crime. Vivita Campbell Edwards says, no opinion, he's where he belongs. Fabian Smith says, you do the crime, you do the time. Simple. Mark Ranger is saying, just one of those days, just one of those days. Aniko says, justice was served, while Rosalind Buck believes that it was karma. And Christopher Isaac says, like father, like son, justice for that young woman and her family. If you can recall story, some time ago we did a story as it relates to Beachy Stout's son in the U.S., where he was charged for murder for his wife as well in the U.S. Beverly Barrett, and is now serving time for that crime. Beverly Barrett says, hope we get the same result for the first wife. Yes, Beachy Stout will also be on trial for the murder of his first wife. O'Neill Dennis says he got what he deserved. On our X platform, let me see if I can get some comments in. Grace Davidson says, he must be put away for life. I have no sympathy for men going around killing women. And yesterday we spoke with Tonia's sister, and she says that men who prey on women in these type of way, she called them weak and disgusting. On our IG platform, Alicia Keys is saying, them for send him to the gallows. Wow. If you're just joining us, we're inside the court of public opinion. The question we're putting to you, your reaction to Beachy Stout, Portland businessman, being found guilty of the murder of his second wife, Tonia Hamilton MacDonald. It was a big day in the court yesterday, in the Home Circuit Court yesterday, and he was found guilty. This is coming from, the trial started in September 2023. And the curtains closed yesterday. Let me see if I can get in some comments from our YouTubers. Let me see. I am winning right now says, don't want to do the time, don't do the crime. Laughs in Ragnar says, the first wife and his parents-in-law. What you saying about that? What you saying about that? Prosperity is saying straight gallows. Laughs in Langa say he's been doing this and getting away with it. That's your view right there, coming from Laughs in Ragnar. Stronglink is questioning why the name Beachy Stout. Where the name Beachy Stout come from? That's a very good question, It's a very good question that we shall seek to find out. Stacy says no repentance for the wicked. Grounded on the tarmac is asking how come death penalty was not sought. You're saying the politician's peeps lives more valuable. That's coming from Grounded on the Tarmac. Let me see if I can get Gary Peart's comment, saying that this man is downright wicked and got what he deserved. Indeed, if you can recall, the case rested heavily on the man that was contracted to carry out the killing, Denvelin Bubler Minot. He testified along with a former employee of Beachy Stout, and the prosecution relied heavily on those two testaments, on those two witnesses, main witnesses, as well as the phone recordings that were brought up in court between the convicted contract killer Denvelin Bubler Minot and Beachy Stout. So the evidence were used to, find him guilty. Lily White says, I was watching a documentary on The Sun today. Crimes like these look like it's in the family. Best believe the documentary, though the circumstances, is a very good watch. It's coming out, it came out last year, I believe. And it's on YouTube available to watch. Beverly Lewis says his money could not save him. Godfrey Smith is saying justice served. He should be going to an electric chair or life without parole. Well, we await the sentencing. The sentencing will take place on May 16, and then we will know the outcome of that. Carol Medley says, like father, like son. Lennis Shim says Beachy Stout is a race track name. He was a popular racehorse owner. That's coming from Lennis Shim. When for the question, somebody was asking where the name Beachy Stout come from. Well, Lennis Shim is giving us a little bit of education here, saying it's a racetrack name. Okay, we will seek to find out more about that. Thank you so much for that, Lennis Shim. But yes, Portland businessman Everton Beachy Stout MacDonald found guilty of murdering his wife, his second wife. Nathan Gill says, wonder if the family going to speak the truth about the girl? Well, all I can say, Nathan Gale, it was a traumatic experience. They told us on camera, on the record yesterday, that it has been very traumatic for them, the family. Tony Bailey says generational curse. That's what you're saying, Tony Bailey? It's a generational curse. Baby Toy says they take so long to put him away. I know it's the law, and that's the law. That is indeed, it is the law. It is the law indeed. It may take long, but, it will come. And I know that some of you got restless listening to our reports over and over and over. We gave you the updates as they were made available in court on a daily basis. We didn't miss a beat, and we gave it to you as we got it. And yesterday, the curtains came down on the Beachy Stout murder trial. John Black, wow. John Black, I saw that comment from you. And Marlene P is saying that's what I heard. Okay. David John Thomas says, a wicked brother that. It's just sad the way how women are being murdered. And I know that, somebody going to flip the switch and say, but woman a kill man to and all of them something. But, it's just sad. Covering all these cases as it relates to disagreements, relationship. It's a very sad case. Sonny says, very sad. The girls are two best friends, son, wife, and father, wife. Okay. Wow. I mean, it's a sad case. It's a sad case. Leroy is saying that I might need to get some counseling for the trauma. The trial was very hard to sit through. Yes? It was a very hard trial to sit through, to hear the evidence being laid out on a daily basis. But we did it because it's our job, and we brought it to you, the people, because that's, we serve you, the people, and we don't want to miss a beat. MS says, this is serious, y'all. A lot of you are sleeping with the enemy and have no clue. That is true. That is so true, MS. That is true. We're talking about the Beachy Stout murder trial. It concluded, well, not necessarily, because we're still waiting on the sentencing to happen on May 16. We're asking your reaction to Beachy Stout being found guilty of his second wife's murder, Tonya Hamilton MacDonald. Her partially burnt body was found in her car on July 20, 2020, and we've been following that story. But that's all the time we have for public opinion, getting the wrap-up signal. We are going to, keep track of this, and you can expect something big coming out of this trial here from Nationwide. Thank you so much for participating. That's all the time we have, but do stay tuned for the business report.
Public opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited. Industrial automation and control solutions.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. In news in the U.S., the House of Representatives has voted to approve a $467.5 billion spending package, the first step in averting a partial government shutdown. Now, funding for roughly 30% of the federal government, this includes agriculture, Energy, Housing and Veterans Affairs is due to expire at midnight on Friday. The House-passed bill now goes to the U.S. Senate, where leaders have vowed to back the measure with time to spare. But the threat of shutdown looms over Congress once again in just 2 weeks. On Wednesday, House makers voted 339 to 85 on the sprawling package of 6 funding bills. Once it passes the Senate and is signed by President Joe Biden, the 1,050-page piece of legislation would extend the funding available for dozens of federal programs from March 8 until September 30. In the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 155 Jamaican dollars and 98 cents to buy $1 US, 200 Jamaican dollars and 75 cents to buy $1 British pound, and 115 Jamaican dollars and 84 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Robianne Williams. Have yourselves a lovely evening.
Home is where you put down your roots. So at Sagicor Bank, we designed a mortgage with everything you need to own your home easier. Get up to 100% financing, fast processing time, up to $100,000 cash back to assist with expenses, a competitive interest rate, plus an unsecured loan of up to $2 million to go solar at home, and a special rate on home insurance. Let's help you put down your roots. Call 888-SAGICOR to apply for your Sagicor Bank mortgage. Conditions apply.
Live exquisite this year with new arrival black and chrome fixtures for your home at Unique Living. Select from a wide variety of rain shower systems, fabulous faucets, and stylish sinks to suit your kitchen and bathrooms. Get uncompromised quality and style unique to you. Shop everything new at Unique Living, Jamaica's leading shower and faucets provider. Visit shop number 630 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10, or call 876-755-3661-2.
The Olympic Games 2024 live from Paris in France, exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
The Jamaican star shines bright once again.
Live here halfway through in Olympic finals.
This summer, Nationwide 90 FM is coming in hot.
Jamaica to the Blacks!
Nationwide 90 FM will be blazing as we bring you the games of the 33rd Olympiad live from the French capital, Paris. 16 fantastic days of competition in 41 sports.
Noblin Williams-Mills coming, the glory flapping, her arms are waving, and Noblin Williams-Mills coming through for Jamaica's goal.
The station will bring you analysis and live coverage from the opening day of competition, Friday, July 26th to the very last day of action on Sunday, August 11th.
And some parchment! Let's go! Oh, what a run!
Everything and anything Paris Olympic Games 2024 can be heard right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
It is a glittering goal for Sharika Jackson, and how they will celebrate that back in Jamaica.
We'll capture the spirit of athleticism. We'll narrate the Olympic fever, define thrilling moments, and report on the blood, sweat, and tears of the world's greatest athletes. Nationwide 90 FM is going to the Paris Olympic Games, and we're taking you with us. Tune into Nationwide 90.3, 90.5, 90.7 and 90.9 for live updates and commentary. We'll be giving the listeners a front row seat to witness excitement, triumph and memories.
And I think it was a clean sweep for the Jamaicans.
Stay tuned to Nationwide 90 FM 24/7. Experience the Paris Olympic Games 2024 right here on the Revolution in Media Nationwide 90 FM, your Olympic Center. Exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
As a parent, you give your children a good start in life. You nurture, protect, and guide them. Parenting is a process that prepares your child for independence. As your child grows and develops, there are many things you can do to help your child. Stay tuned to The Big Show, Nationwide this morning, for parenting tips. Fridays at 6:53 a.m. Only here will you learn everything you need to know about parenting. Tips to help parents navigate the incredibly challenging and rewarding journey of child rearing. Parenting tips on Nationwide at 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM.
Is that really clip you started?
Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour, fired.
Also, tune into the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beanie, give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Was Click News really talking like that?
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Alan Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we are all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's Word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
The Oasis is brought to you by Solar Tech Jamaica. We use the gift of the sun to power our world.
But is this real? Hey Greg, come look at this. Oh my, it's happening. Mr. Daniels, the numbers keep getting bigger and bigger.
Sir, the clicks are off the charts.
Hello, sales? What's the emergency? 9,000 clicks in one day? 3,000 order? So how much we have left? What? I'll soon call you back. Mr. Nakamoto, it's Danny from Jamaica. I need 5,000 of the big ones. We're back in business.
Yes, sir. Arigato. Suene.
Amplify your brand. Let Nationwide 90 FM assist you in tapping into a captivated audience across our social media platforms. For more information, contact us at 876-630-1210 or sales@nationwidenewsnetwork.com. Businesses, companies, and entrepreneurs, let's supercharge your brand.
How certain are you that you're taking proper care of your pets? How often do you take them to the vet? Just as we need annual checkups with our doctors, most pets need regular checkups too. Owning and caring for a family pet doesn't have to be a difficult or burdensome experience. Nationwide 90 FM has an exciting feature called Pets World that will help you take better care of your pets. Join Nationwide 90 FM every Wednesday at 6:50 a.m. during the program This Morning as we take you into the do's and don'ts of caring for your pets. That's Pets World every Wednesday at 6:50 a.m. during the program This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Public opinion.
Stop this foolish about this GLP and PMP business. We are Jamaican.
Different people.
It's not a matter of a JLP or a PMP. I think it's more like where it is that you think you're comfortable, what support you can afford to make the country better.
Different views.
Most entertainers, they're not amenable to management, so the only thing that can ultimately structure them is the court and the prison.
Public opinion. The voice of the people at 6:25 p.m. weekdays during Nationwide at 5. Tune into Nationwide at 6:25 p.m. for Public Opinion, where the people's views matter.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Catch the E-Zone with me, the Stinger Honeybee, alongside
Kareem Boy Ting.
As we turn up the heat in the street.
New show.
New vibe.
Same us.
Same us.
Monday to Friday, 3 to 5 p.m.
Right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
We'll bring you entertainment news.
We'll take away your Monday blues.
You don't want to miss a week with us.
We'll talk health.
Well,
jump into the mix.
Or the hot seat.
Don't miss the brain buster.
Or the crazy giveaways.
I mean, is this planet Earth?
Is it?
I don't know. Let me check. Either way, it's got a buzz.
And a bugatti.
Ow.
You have been asking for justice. Well, get justice. The Ministry of Justice presents Get Justice, a program focused on giving Jamaicans information on how to resolve their conflicts and access justice services. The series will highlight the justice services of the ministry to include social justice, estate planning, legal aid, and expungement. Join the discussion by calling 876-630-93714 or participate via their social media pages at MOJOfficialJM on X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. Get Justice with the Ministry of Justice every Thursday at 11 a.m. only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media.
Ministry of Justice, come access quality service.
MOJ taking justice to the people of Jamaica. Become Team Jamaica certified to shape the future of Jamaica's tourism sector. TPDCO's Team Jamaica, shaping ambassadors for life.
The time by TPDCO's Team Jamaica training program is
6:46. Good evening, good evening. This is the nation's business at 6:46. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
I'm Franklin McKnight.
Good evening again, Franklin.
Wonderful.
Let's get right into it. The private sector needs to increase on-the-job training. That's the call from former president of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, Howard Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell says the time has come for the sector to allocate more in their budget for training workers and raising productivity.
And the state is moving to address the inadequacies of training in many of its educational institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, in those circumstances, is it not time for the private sector to increase its attention to on-the-job training, to providing more in its budget for training for its employees? Should this not be a priority item in our annual budgets, to upskill our very own staff and to improve the working conditions of its human capital, to establish performance-based pay, to incentivize them to stay in our country and to raise our productivity?
That's Howard Mitchell. He was speaking at the launch of the Amber UTEX Launchpad held at the University of Technology in St. Andrew on Wednesday. He says more than 50% of students trained at Mona School of Business leave to go overseas. He also added that human capital is Jamaica's most important resource and highlighted a few companies that capitalize on this fact.
In the midst of the complaints about high turnover rates of employees and low productivity, companies like Sandals, Knutsford Express, Sagicor, Caramed Group, Spur Tree Spices, JMMB, and Grace Kennedy managed to produce consistently good results and keep their people at work. How it is that the National Baking Company manages to maintain much lower percentages of employee turnover and much higher productivity than the national standard. They must be doing something different from the rest of us. I believe that it is because they have recognized the value of human capital and that human capital is Jamaica's most significant and valuable resource.
That's Howard Mitchell, former president of the PSOJ. Well, joining us to discuss Howard Mitchell's comments is Kevin O'Brien Chang. He is an author, political commentator, and the managing director of Fontana. Good evening, Kevin.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So what do you make of that comment by Mr. Mitchell that more on-the-job training needs to be done? You'd think that is almost a no-brainer. Is it that this is not taking place?
It is a no-brainer. Especially with what is happening in Jamaica now, and especially given our education system, which we know is inadequate. Let's face it. It's widely known that maybe 20% get a good education and 80% don't. And Jamaica was used to 10% unemployment for the most of anybody can remember. For as long as most people can remember, up till about 2 or 3 years ago, unemployment is always over 10%. Now we're down to 4%. And remember, back in the past, I think it was Omar Davis, the former finance minister, once talked about unemployables. Remember?
Yes.
Irredeemable.
Huh?
Irredeemable as well. Irredeemable.
Irredeemable, yes. And a lot of those who were, let's face it, 10% up there dropped to 4%. That's 6% who have been employed were a lot of times considered unemployable, irredeemable. And they have suddenly now been pushed into the workforce with not much training, not much education. And I'm going to say this, and some people might find it upsetting, but especially the males. I'm going to say something again, it's upsetting people, but you talk to business people, there's a great reluctance to hire males. If they can get females, they take them first. The women are seen as more educated, and the statistics show that 70% at UWI is female graduates at all tertiary. They're seen as more disciplined, right, and more reliable. And the males have a very bad reputation. And this gap starts from as early as 4th grade, when they do mastery tests and all that. And so the males especially need on-the-job training. Sometimes not even technical stuff, just how to be a reliable employee, how to be, the accepted things if you are trained and all that. But they come there with no training, no experience, poor education system. So if their private sector is not going to step up and train people, who is? By magic, is it going to suddenly, somebody who was once considered irredeemable and unemployable, suddenly we have to hire because we need people? Most businesses are scrambling for people, and even at all levels, right? Even at the entry level. They have to get boots on the ground, a lot of businesses. You get these boots on the ground, but you find they lack this, they lack that, they lack that. If the private sector doesn't do the training, who will?
But Kevin,
if we had a competent education system, a lot of this, you might still need some, but we need a lot. And as I come back to the sex difference, which it's the elephant in the room in Jamaica, nobody wants to talk about. These gender specialists keep importing these foreign models, where yes, there are oppressed women across the world who need to be brought up to the level of the males, but that's not the situation in Jamaica. In Jamaica, it's the males who are the second-class citizens, the young males. They're struggling. And a lot of it, you think our males are somehow inferior to the females, the young ones? No. Clearly it is culture, it is education, it is training. And that gap will have to be filled by the private sector. Who else can fill it?
But Kevin, you're a businessman, as Siobhan pointed out, and so it's costly to train people on the job, is it not? And is that possibly why some people shy away from
There's a
it?
great quote I read somewhere once. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance.
Yes, that's correct.
It's costly, yes, in the short run, but in the long run, what are you going to do? Have people there who don't know what they're doing?
But Kevin, I just want to mention some people I know in the private sector, restaurant operators in particular, on the North Coast. They do a lot of training. They pick up people and they do a lot of training. And those people still migrate. They go on the ships.
No, but the migration is a different
constant
issue.
trek.
The migration is a different issue. And that is something that I don't know we're going to solve that, because if you train the people and you can get 5 times the salary working abroad, how can you blame them? Right? That's a different issue, which I don't know the solution, but I do know the ones who want to stay here and work. Let's even focus on those. How they're going to get the requisite skills to talk about. Professor Damon King posted about it, the lack of low productivity. He essentially is saying to get people, the least employable, the one with the least skills, and bring them into the workforce. Your productivity will fall when you bring those in, the average productivity, because they are not productive, because a lot of times they just don't know how to be productive. And that is where the gap, the vacuum is, and the gap where you have to bring it from, but they have at a potential, how to get to performance. It has to be training.
But Kevin, a large number of the workforce, as you know, those people are employed to small businesses. And many of the small businesses cannot afford to do training on the job.
That is where I don't know people are offering that service. Maybe some bright young entrepreneurs, and Jamaica will see that, yes, we have a lot of people now in the system. Some of them have the best will in the world, and they want to, They just don't know how. And therefore, you're going to have the people to pick it up and start, how do I take it from potential to performance? And the small businesses will have to say, look, it might cost me a bit, but for now, but if I have incompetent people at my business, it's going to fail. So the mentality that, as Mr. Mitchell said, CariMed, National Baker, a lot of these companies they're successful because they invest a lot in training. Sandals, for example, was very famous for investing a lot in training, right? And if the small businessman looks up and sees these big businesses doing it, they're training their people and they're more successful, I will have to do that too. And as I said, in the short run, yes, it's going to cost me money. But in the long run, as I said, ignorance is far more expensive than education. And it's a mental change that I think all businesses in Jamaica will have to make, that the short versus the long run. Yes, it costs money now and it's more expensive, but if I get a better employee down the road, it will be worth the money. And as I say, if it doesn't happen, what's going to happen? You're going to keep having incompetent employees at your company dragging you down. That's your alternative, Either I train you up to my standard, or my business is going to drop down to your standard of untrained.
Would apprenticeship help in that regard? It's been spoken about for years. Nothing significant has happened.
You do have it, because at Fontana, for example, you used to have summer students come on the job, but they're paid by the government a lot of the times, by some TEF and different government agencies to come there just to learn job skills. They come there and you're assigned to do that, do this, and you're paid for by the government. And that was done. But I think it's drying up now because there's just so much demand for people. Yeah, that was being done for the longest while. The trainees, they have them in the summer and they come and work and you assign them things and you didn't pay them, but they came here to learn basically sometimes not intellectual skills, but just how to be a good employee.
But certainly, Kevin, because there are quite a few models that we have practiced here in Jamaica. You have more recently, you have Amber, who have trained up some of many Jamaicans coming to work in their own company. You have the Sandals School, the Gordon Butch, based on Sandals School of Hospitality and Tourism. Certainly, there is a model that can be adopted where a corporation recognizes the need for specific types of talent, where they can set up their own training institution to then bring those skills up that they can then exploit.
But then again, yes, it's just the companies can do it, the big companies, but the small ones can't afford it.
That's
and that is why entrepreneurs will have to fill the gap. Not everybody can set up a training school, but everybody needs a certain level of training. So therefore, you can have people who will do it and get individuals or smaller companies from potential to performance. Yes, it is something, it is a vacuum in the market waiting to be filled, because as I say, the big companies can set up their own training schools, right? But what about the medium and small businesses? Can they afford it? No. But that facility will have to be made available to them if they want to raise the level of their the productivity and the employability of their employees. As I see, remember, Jamaica is in uncharted territory now, and I keep reiterating this 4.2% unemployment. 10 years ago, to see miraculous, people say, no, this can't be Jamaica, 4.2%. Ridiculous, you're dreaming. If somebody had said 10 years ago, when Jamaica employment rate was 13, 14, or well over 10%, that, yeah, man, in 10 years' time, or 7 years ago, right, we're going to have 4% unemployment rate. You would have considered them insane, wouldn't you?
Yes, you chase them away because many people just kept that the numbers were going to be somewhere between 12 and 20, and
exactly.
that's good. That's a good region.
Almost miraculous. We're in uncharted territory. How could we not expect dislocations when something so unbelievable has happened? Yes, we're going to have to adjust to the new reality that everybody who can want a job can get a job. Essentially in Jamaica now, anybody who wants a job can get a job, right? But sometimes employees, they need a body, but they need a body who can do what we need them to do. And so, as I said, there's a vacuum in the market now, in my view, waiting to be filled, that you make this training accessible to everybody. And a small business can't afford it. They should be able to go to somebody and say, look, I have this man or this lady, them willing and they want to try, but they just don't know how. I need them to be trained and some entrepreneurs will offer the service eventually. Because Jamaica is a very
Kevin, I think it's a good idea, but who pays for it? You still come back to who pays for that?
To the point here, you pay for it in the short run, they get a more productive employee in the long run. That is it. You pay.
The small businesses are some of them are scraping by.
And I said the small businesses will have to learn it's better for me to pay and raise up the skills of my new employee than struggle along for a year with an incompetent employee, drag my business down. I lose sales, I lose my reputation. It is, pros versus cons. And I said the alternative of having somebody who is incompetent at your company, clueless, doesn't know what to do, you must drag your business down eventually. As I said, if Butch Stewart, one of his secrets was training people up, why wouldn't smaller businesses adopt that? Of course, it costs handles money too. It costs everybody money to train, But it's a model that has been shown to work. Why wouldn't the smaller business people try to adopt that model also? As I say, what's the alternative? And maybe the government can help. By developing, they already have heart and those kind of stuff, but the government moves slowly. Entrepreneurs can fill this gap more quickly.
And the skill, and it doesn't have to be sometimes, it's not even huge skills, Kevin. It's sometimes somebody who's at the front desk who doesn't have
the point. They just
any clue whatsoever how to greet people, how to talk to people, and so people get chased away from that little business.
That's the point. Potential to performance. You have somebody come in, okay, they may not go to the best school, but they have native intelligence, right? You have a lot of it. A lot of smart people, especially in the inner cities, they're not stupid in the rest of the country, but culturally, they're dumped into these schools, which they just want to keep them and ship them out. They come out, they have native intelligence, They want to work, but they just don't know how. Teach them how. And as I say, if we don't, listen, I come back to the point. If we don't go that direction of training the people who the education system has failed, how are we going to raise our productivity? How are small businesses going to survive with incompetent people? As I said, people have to say, if Butch Stewart adopted this model, so I'm going to train my people and grow my business, it should become a mantra for all businesses, I would think. You copy success, people should copy success.
Definitely something to think on. Thank you, Kevin O'Brien Chang. He's the managing director of Fontana Pharmacy. He's also an author and a political commentator.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks.
More after this.
Me grow up and see my granny save her money under her mattress.
But at an old time something, that's where I save my money in the bank. And because I want to buy a little house, I also save in a building society. We have to be smart with how we save our money.
So, what if the bank crash?
Well, that's where JDIC comes in. Make I tell you something. With the JDIC Deposit Insurance Scheme, once you save your money in a commercial bank, merchant bank, or building society, your deposit is covered up to a maximum of $1.2 million per depositor per financial institution if the institution fails. All the information that you need is available at jdic.org, and you can follow their social media platform for more information.
JDIC, protecting deposits for you and me.
Stand out among competitors. Show your commitment to quality. Submit your entry in the Bureau of Standards Jamaica National Quality Awards Program. Your entry provides the opportunity for a free comprehensive assessment of your organization's management system and facilitates improvement in effectiveness and efficiency. This prestigious award associates your organization with performance excellence. Step into a world of excellence. Gain access to international markets. Enter today.
Call 618-1534. The Bureau of Standards Jamaica, making standards work for you.
Home is where you put down your roots. So at Sagicor Bank, we designed a mortgage with everything you need to own your home easier. Get up to 100% financing, fast processing time, up to $100,000 cash back to assist with expenses, a competitive interest rate, plus an unsecured loan of up to $2 million to go solar at home, and a special rate on home insurance. Let's help you put down your roots. Call 888 Sagicor to apply for your Sagicor Bank mortgage. Conditions apply.
Azen Super Center in Midtown Crossroads, a place you've come to know and trust for quality and the best prices. Now, come see our expanded range of products, fine furnishings, kitchenware, your smart TVs, and all things electronics, and the latest in curtains, bed linen, and bathroom accessories. It's the new and expanded Azen Super Center in Midtown Crossroads with convenient, safe, and free parking. Shop with a smile at Azen Super Center.
We've been a part of everyday Jamaican life for over 25 years. From paydays to birthdays, unexpected emergencies to anniversary celebrations, the supermarket checkout line, or paying a bill or taxes on time. Our fast, secure debit network provides reliable service so you can always depend on Multilink. Jamaican and proud, fast, secure, everywhere.
Welcome back. It's 7:06. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
I'm Franklin McKnight.
We're turning to a very interesting topic now. Recent scientific research conducted by Rise Life Management Services under the European Union funded Improved Forest Management and Livelihoods for a Better Jamaica IFMAL project has paved the way for the large-scale cultivation of true-to-type seedlings to address the current shortage of mature Jamaican mahogany trees in the region. The mahogany genus, which has 3 species, is a medium-sized semi-evergreen growing to 98 to 115 feet tall. It produces straight-grained reddish-brown timber that is highly sought after due to its color and durability. One of the three species, scientifically called Sweetenia mahogany, is native to the wider Caribbean, including Jamaica, Cuba, and the Bahamas, but it is now near threatened due to excessive land clearance and cutting for furniture making. It's against this background that RISE spearheaded a DNA analysis to isolate and cultivate the native Jamaican species. This was done in partnership with the Tulloch Estates and the Forestry Department. If successful, the initiative is expected to repopulate Jamaica with true type mahogany trees, potentially leading to the lifting of the CITS ban in the future. This could enable the exportation of Jamaican mahogany and the production of better quality furniture for regional export. Well, joining us to discuss further are the senior lecturer at the Biotechnology Center at the University of West Indies, Dr. Sylvia Mitchell, and Executive Director of Rise Life Management Services, Nadine Chambers-Goss. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, I have to admit that a lot of that went way over my head. So I'm going to start with you, Nadine Chambers-Goss. Can you provide a brief overview of the Mahogany Revitalization Project and Tulloch Estate's role?
Of course, and I fully understand, Siobhan. It sounded quite a bit like a scholarly exercise. But, this project has so much significance. When we got the funding from the European Union, a couple of the main aims were really to try and support more sustainable forestry management practices, and including more CSOs as well. And along with that, we wanted to, of course, also be able to address the whole issue of climate change and how we could improve livelihoods using wood and non-wood products for different communities across Jamaica. And so the mahogany is just one component of this much, much broader project. But it is exciting in terms of what it means for the species itself, which, as you mentioned, is a near threatened species, and also for the future opportunities in terms of how we can develop our local timber industry and furniture industry as well, to kind of add to our GDP through our exports as well.
Okay, and Dr. Sylvia Mitchell, were there specific challenges or concerns regarding Jamaican mahogany that prompted the initiation of this analysis?
Right, so I came in at the end of this, and what I like... Hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah. What I like about what this RISE has done is get to the jugular problem that was with mahogany. I don't know if you realize that Jamaica used to be covered with mahogany. It was taken down to make way for the sugar plantations. So it has a lot of significance to Jamaica. We are one of the few places that have this wood. But sometime in the past, the idea was, let's bring in this other mahogany, which grows faster, and maybe it's better. What was found was, yes, it grows faster, but there's still this great demand for this better quality mahogany, grows slower, but yields and gives a return. So this helps us to see in the long term to, we have a get-rich-quick attitude. It will help to break that down, to realize you're planting trees for your children's children, and also to appreciate the difference between the different mahoganies. What this research has done is go to the very beginning and ensure that whatever is multiplied is the same, so that we're not multiplying hundreds and hundreds of a tree that in 30, 40, 50 years is not going to be the right one. Right? So that to me was a big significance, and I'm grateful to RISE for what they have done. And now they have involved us. We will see how far we can be involved in the project to take it even further.
I don't know which one of you ladies which one of you can take this, but what's the population now, and where is it mainly that the mahogany is grown, the preferred species?
Well, I can start, and Dr. Mitchell, if you want to add, you can add as well. So really, Siobhan, a key part of the project was through our discussions with the forestry department, which actually has a nursery in which they grow mahogany seedlings. And as a matter of fact, the Jamaican mahogany species, is quite important for the forestry department. It's actually the second highest produced seedlings that they have in their nursery, second only to cedar. I think in 2019 they produced around 26,000 Jamaican mahogany seedlings, and they use it quite a bit in terms of their replanting exercise as well. So the challenge that the forestry department had was that they too had this hybrid seedling quite a bit in their nursery, that Dr. Mitchell alluded to, because there was some grafting between the Honduran mahogany, which is the species that grows a bit faster, along with the Jamaican mahogany. But what they found was that this was eroding the genetic material, the genetic pool of the Jamaican mahogany. So, for example, the plants were yellowing, the growth was stunted, and so this proof now, this provision of certified true to type Jamaican mahogany is quite important for the forestry department, because they were really looking for a source to get high quality seedlings. And we were able, fortunately, through this funding from the EU program, the European Union, to be able to get the DNA analysis done. And so what this will mean is that there will be, in the forestry department, their nurseries, and forestry supplies everyone. They have their own forestry reserves, and they also supply private forestry, their private forestry program as well. And so this is how the Jamaican mahogany population now will re-grow and strengthen through the seedlings from the forestry department and through the private forestry owners, and of course to all the farmers that we would have distributed to.
And Dr. Mitchell, what's the unique properties of Jamaican mahogany that makes it so important to get this true seedling to seedling?
Right. Do you have mahogany in your house?
I have a few mahogany pieces of furniture, yes.
They last long, right?
Very much so, yes. I think I have a mahogany desk that I've had since I was 10.
Well, I want mahogany in my house. Do you realize that the more mahogany we have, we're actually helping against climate change?
Oh, how so?
Because we've captured the CO2. So it's just a better wood. It's darker, it's more beautiful, it's more durable, etc., etc. It's a hardwood, which means it grows very slowly. So it's very dense and therefore resistant to all the insects, etc., etc., and makes a beautiful wood furniture.
I was asking about the numbers because I wanted to see. I was asking about the numbers because I wanted to get a sense of where are we going to be, you're expecting us to be, or the goals for the next 5 years or 10 years or whatever the timeline is. How are the numbers of trees expected to increase across Jamaica, not just from forestry department stands?
Well, to give you a total number, we would have to find out absolutely from the forestry department in terms of their current stock. As I mentioned, I know in 2019 they had in their nursery about 26,000 seedlings. I know under the project we had over about 1,000 thereabout, if not more, for the Jamaican mahogany seedling as well. So that, and I really don't want to give a final number other than to say it is a lot that we would have.
And each year would be another set of seeds.
Exactly. And as Dr. Ward mentioned, this is a slow-growing plant. It takes between 50 and 70 years to mature. So we do have more than adequate time to ensure that we have enough seedlings to repopulate the true Jamaican genetically superior Jamaican mahogany. But what I wanted to say as well, I know when persons hear 50 to 70 years to mature, they think, my goodness, but I'm not going to reap any benefits from this. But, we have to think in terms of the long-term benefits for the country. And honestly, there are places in the world, New Zealand, for example, who have a brilliant forestry and wood industry where persons are actually able to invest in. And I was just looking on their website before we joined, and their wood sector actually contributed $5.6 billion in export revenue in 2020 to 2021. And their average hectare, in terms when you invest in a hectare of forestry in New Zealand, your return is about $1,500 per hectare. So this, when we have this number of seedlings available, you can have small families, because you can start with as small as a hectare to larger stands. So for the future, this is another way that we are really looking for the Jamaican mahogany to deliver concrete and tangible value to people's lives and to the nation as well.
And maybe I missed it, but what's the demand like versus the supply? I know it's a good wood, but what's the demand like among furniture makers and so on?
That's what I say. The demand is very high, and that's why it's in danger.
Exactly. And just to add to, you spoke about the deaths that you've had since 10. Going back centuries, as Dr. Mitchell mentioned, Jamaica was covered in Jamaican mahogany, and the challenge was when people recognized the value of the wood, quite a bit of it was cut down and it was used, I believe, to make this top-class furniture called Chippendale. Nice. Yes, Chippendale furniture. So it's in the homes of royalty all over Europe, for example. If you wanted to have those centuries ago quality furniture, it was Jamaican mahogany that was used to create this Chippendale brand of furniture.
So how long is this EU-funded project going to last now? Sorry.
No, well, it ended. So it actually ran from March 2022 to last year, November 2023. So, now we're just kind of highlighting the outcomes of the project.
But that's how projects are. Projects lead to projects, lead to projects. So you can't really talk about it finishing, which is another reason why I like that RISE got us involved, because we're a bit more permanent. But we need the help of these NGOs to keep this going. The other point I'd like to point out what they're saying. Yes, it's mahogany, but there's a lot of other things in the forest. So it's more like a permaculture, and also that you have short-term crops, medium-term crops, and then these long-term crops.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Siobhan, you mentioned the end, and I want to agree with Dr. Mitchell as well. The beauty of this project and another key value actually has to do with the research in and of itself, because for this species, because it takes so long to grow, there has been very little global knowledge available, because it's not a species that a lot of research has been done on. And so the production of this report, which was done by the Union Institute in Germany, the findings from that will go a far way to contributing to global knowledge. We have partners such as Dr. Mitchell's biotechnology unit at the university. We also involved the Hope Royal Botanical Gardens, their association, their section that deals with the preservation of endemic species, so that the studies can continue. We've also passed it on to the forestry department, and we want to stretch it more globally as well, so that Jamaica, through this project, Jamaica is contributing now to this global knowledge on this species. So it really is also very significant for that reason, and that body of knowledge will continue to survive and be of use to researchers long, long, long beyond 2024.
And so did I ask you, Nadine Chambers, who thus far have benefited from this? Has this been distributed to anybody? Because as you pointed out, the sustainability of it is important. We don't want to be here again in another 50 years saying that we still have not managed to maintain the mahogany plant, the Jamaican mahogany plant. So which groups so far have benefited from this?
Well, we have one of the beneficiaries right here with us, Dr. Mitchell. So we would have provided Dr. Mitchell with a copy of the research, the findings from the DNA analysis, as well as actual samples of the certified Jamaican mahogany seedlings. The Hope Royal Botanical Gardens, as I mentioned, their endemic species preservation unit would have also benefited. So too would have the Jamaica Agricultural Society, and of course our very supportive partners in this, the Forestry Department. So,
and Tolo Estate.
And of course, Tolo Estate. So, normally Roger Turner, who was really our chief partner on this component especially, he really is the expert in this area. And the nursery that was established under this project to house the Jamaican mahogany seedlings, that was actually done at Tolo Estates.
And I can say he's working with the farmers. He's making sure they've made the holes. He's giving information to them and making sure that the mahogany trees that go from him are taken care of, as I'm sure the Forestry Department is doing.
So it's not true to say that it's no longer near threatened or threatened species?
We have a long way to go.
Yeah, but we are positioning ourselves for that. So that will no longer be the case. Right. And the beauty of having this expansion in the population too is that now we can, in the future begin to think about commercialization again of the Jamaican mahogany, because there are restrictions currently in terms of using it for those kinds of purposes, commercial purposes.
And that's where I want to go, Nadine Chambers. I mean, when you tell a farmer that he probably won't see the benefit of this product that he's going to be asked to plant in his lifetime, how do you convince them to take part?
Can I say something here?
Go ahead.
Yes, the farmers of Jamaica are much smarter than that. I mean, I've had farmers that have explained to me what happened when the Honduran mahogany came in and have told me how many trees they want. And that is just in one small parish of Jamaica, one small group of farmers. They understand.
Yeah, man. So think of it this way, Siobhan. If you are a head of a household, a male or female farmer, and you are presented with this opportunity to say, look, you're toiling now, you have your short and medium term crop, but you're working for your family, you're working for some persons to also make a difference in their communities, and this is like an investment. So some persons will invest in stocks, and they will put it aside, they will do it for their children. So the mahogany is kind of representative of that long-term investment that you're making, because that the value is there, and your children will benefit, because everybody is thinking, how can I leave this world and ensure that my children will be better off than I was?
Mm-hmm.
Certainly epitomizes the whole parable of plant a tree today.
Exactly.
Yes.
So thank you, ladies. That's the Senior Lecturer for Biotechnology at the University of the West Indies, Mona, Dr. Sylvia Mitchell, and Executive Director of Rise Life Management Services, Nadine Chambers-Goss. The best to both of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, my listeners as well.
So we'll take a break, and after that, your calls. The numbers to call, remember, are 630-937-124 and 618-8255. Come chat with us.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Marlon Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we're all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
The Olympic Games 2024 live from Paris in France, exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
The Jamaican star shines bright once again. Live here halfway through an Olympic final.
This summer, Nationwide 90 FM is coming in hot.
Jamaica to the blacks!
Nationwide 90 FM will be blazing as we bring you the games of the 33rd Olympiad live from the French capital, Paris. 16 fantastic days of competition in 41 sports.
Noblin Williams-Mills coming, the glory flapping, her arms are waving, and Noblin Williams-Mills coming through for Jamaica's goal.
The station will bring you analysis and live coverage from the opening day of competition, Friday, July 26th to the very last day of action on Sunday, August 11th.
And some parchment, let's go! Oh, what a run!
Everything and anything Paris Olympic Games 2024 can be heard right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
It is a glittering goal for Sharika Jackson, and how they will celebrate that back in Jamaica.
We'll capture the spirit of athleticism. We'll narrate the Olympic fever, define thrilling moments, and report on the blood, sweat, and tears of the world's greatest athletes. Nationwide 90 FM is going to the Paris Olympic Games, and we're taking you with us. Tune into Nationwide 90.3, 90.5, 90.7, and 90.9 for live updates and commentary. We'll be giving the listeners a front row seat to witness excitement, triumph, and memories.
And I think it was a clean sweep for the Jamaicans.
Stay tuned to Nationwide 90 FM 24/7. Experience the Paris Olympic Games 2024 right here on the Revolution in Media Nationwide 90 FM, your Olympic Center. Exclusively on Nationwide 90 FM.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Marlon Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we're all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
The Integrity Commission Statutory Declaration form has changed. Download the new form and file securely within your organization before March 31. The time by the Integrity Commission is
7:30. It's 7:30 and we're taking your calls, but before we go to the lines, just one thing I have to make clear, because I see it in the comments and I don't like misinformation spreading for too long. I thought it would die down by now, but to be clear, George Davis is on vacation leave. He will come back after 2 weeks, and that is the matter at hand. He's on vacation leave. He's not gone. There's nothing wrong. He is just taking a well-deserved break after going near end for nearly, almost 2 years now. Mr. Davis has been going hard here at Nationwide News. Yes, but I've been corrected. Over a year now, Mr. Davis has gone hard for Nationwide News and he's taken a well-deserved 2-week vacation. So please, people, calm down. Mr. Davis is not gone. Richard, you're on the line.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Now, as a part of a democratic country, the EOJ is what both parties have members on, and plus they respect that body, right?
Yes. It was one of the most built-up institutions in the country that a lot of people have put quite a bit of faith in.
Yes, but I'm listening out for the losing party based on the EOJ that they should concede. Shouldn't that be as a part of tradition, democracy?
Yes, normally a concession is given at the end to say congratulations, X party has won.
Yes, but I am wondering what's going on where that has not been done.
Because neither party in this instance seems interesting enough wants to concede a victory or concede a loss. Both parties, based on their own metrics, are saying we won.
Yes, but if the EOJ that they're supposed to uphold the findings or the result, shouldn't it be something like that?
Well, the EOJ has given their results to say which party won how many seats and which party won X amount of seats. Beyond that, I think at this point, Jamaicans must make up their minds and look at the numbers as they stand and say, this party is the winner.
Unfortunately, but I strongly believe in democracy. Now, one other thing that I noticed in the parish council election, some of the person were running, putting themselves up for office was lazy. They don't go into a lot of the areas and meet the people.
I mean, I can't talk for... I know my councillor down there in Chapelton did quite a bit of work, and congratulations, he won his seat. But I can't speak for every councillor.
I see most of the councillors, many of the candidates, well, the ones I know, they did a lot of work. They went to meetings, they went to people's houses, they went around on the corner. They did a lot of work, the ones I saw out here in St. Anne in particular.
Well, I can speak for Eastport and the Ferry Division. These guys didn't do much walking around.
Where's that, Ferry Hill?
Yes. They may go to specific homes, but there are a lot of people who were left out.
And they went to specific homes, you mean, of their supporters?
I was one of them who was left out too,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And normally, I think you should, what party wants support. I'm an independent, and I'm proud independent, But I am there to be persuaded, But none of them didn't try to persuade me.
So they're lost.
Anyway, my final point, I am very disappointed how Christopher was winding,
Well, Dr. Tufton has raised some valid concerns, and with any system, it's not just about we just take everything on blind faith, The EOJ has established itself as a world trend-setting organization in terms of the conduct of elections, and in doing that, they must also have accountability, and they must have proper processes in place when people have grievances. There's nothing wrong with having a little skepticism when you have a result in front of you.
But the question is, it's two sides to the coin. So who's telling the truth?
That is why we have investigations.
Testing that. No, that's what he's saying. They want to be testing, and there's a further process of testing, basically almost a further process of appeal. Having had the preliminary count, the final count, magisterial recount, they're going a little bit further to test the process.
Yeah. Okay, gentlemen, have a good night.
Same to you, Richard. Who done it? I take what you're saying, and the EOJ did say who the winner of the election is in terms of the total control of the municipal corporations and municipalities.
Local authorities, yes.
Precisely.
Local authorities. They said the JLP won.
Precisely. And if anyone wishes to contest that further, they must use their own metric to say, well, even if X has secured so many seats, Y still has gotten this many versus what they had before, and they believe that is a victory in that right, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If they want to say that they won the election outright, that's not true. But if they want to say, well, we've made gains that we didn't have before, which the PNP has done, there's nothing wrong to say that we've walked away looking better than we did 8 years ago. Carl, you're on the line.
Yeah, good evening. Happy to fire again, Mr. McKnight.
Good evening, Carl.
Mr. McKnight, Donald Trump is in Jamaica, so he won't concede like what Donald Trump did do. That's all Richard is trying to get from you. We have a Donald Trump. we lose our election and decide to mash up the White House. Simple. Simple as that. And tell me,
I hope we don't have any mash up here, though, Carl. I hope we don't have any attempts at that.
Yes, thank. I even up to this evening, one comrade tell me, say, we thief election for them. And me ask him, say, 6 and 7, how much? And he no bother answer me. Anyhow, that's it. That is that over a week we gone here. EOJ said the Jamaica Labour Party have won the election. Me don't talk about that now. Me I focus on the big price ahead of me now.
Yes, and let me ask you something, Carl, though. Based on the results of the election, would you be comfortable going into a general election?
Not right now.
All right. And I think that is the nuance a lot of Jamaicans are missing, you know.
Right.
The JLP must admit that they took a bruising during the local government elections. They technically won. They secured a Pyrrhic victory. But they are not on top, and they must understand that.
Right. Anyhow, Mr. McKnight, you're there on long enough, like me. Yeah, but here, Fitch and those big place, I big up Jamaica in all of your years when you used to dep on radio and all kind of things before. Even the ratings that we get since week.
Well, Carl, it's without a doubt that the economy is looking good. All of the agencies are, well, not all of them, but most of the agencies are turning out good indicators, are mentioning Jamaica's good indicators, as has Fitch recently, as has several others. They're very good indicators. And as we had a conversation earlier, there was a time when most Jamaicans you spoke with who watched it would say unemployment was going to range between 10 and 15, 20% all the time. I certainly never expected unemployment to come down to 5% and less, 2% now?
So, Mr. McKnight, so when we listen to some people talk around Jamaica now, I heard the Prime Minister kick off one little piece this evening and try to push back on some of the negatives them, which was around in the 90s, where some of them was Omar Davis' advisor. And if that was the advice for them used to give to wreck people business and mash up with economy, and now they want to come and tell us they want to lead. And them was one of his advisor. What you have to say, Mr. McKnight, would you turn and look them the way they, when you see our economy is doing so well, would you want to turn it back to take
I want Carl to give me directions based upon, since Carl is looking at it every day. Give me your take on it, Carl.
Well, Mr. McKnight,
yes,
I was around in the 90s, and I know this. I'm going to lead you to something. Which Shabbai Malika boy, I mean, I always call him little boy. I don't know. Mr.
Not that little
McKnight.
He reads, you know, Carl.
I'm
so
not that little, Carl. You're talking about the 90s. I'm not that little.
Yes, sir.
I remember in the 90s, I know this lady when named Miss Baker. I know her personal. And every time I used to hear that lady talk, I remember one day I was coming from Montego Bay. I heard that lady I talked to Mutty Perkins before ended, and I have to stop the vehicle and tears come out of my eye for that lady. Where the finance, the 90s, the 80s, the 89 to the 90s, done to that businesswoman. And I never forget, it was before Christmas one year. I was coming down from Hope Road, Papi in 5 o'clock news I read from this very radio station when the two person hung themselves because of the devil in the 90s. And when you listen, even at the campaign where we just finished up here, Mr. McKnight, you is a man who will listen good and say you're a teacher. Tell me if you're here. May I put you upon a test now, Mr. McKnight? Tell me what you hear come out of the campaign will make any sense from the opposition. except time come. And when you ask enough of them what time come for, then go to some food. Tell me what time come for, Mr. McKnight.
Well, I can't answer for... I can't answer for either of these. I can't answer for either of these political parties, Carl. I cannot answer for either of them. I don't attempt to. I don't have any. It's not my business to attempt to answer for either of them. They can answer for themselves. They have a whole system and personnel to do that.
But Mr. McKnight is around long time, sir.
Yes,
and we
sir.
have to put these questions to all you and Mark Wignall already around long time. A long time, I not even hear nothing from Mark Wignall last night paper for him. We have to ask people like, where they there around long time. We have to teach the young people them who come up with and understand what happened in the 90s.
Believe it or not, Carl, I lived through the 90s and I'm not as young as you think. And one thing, I was too young to understand the situation as they were unfolding around me. But one thing I do know is that between 1990 to about 2005, 2006, thereabouts, I noticed that a lot of businesses and financial institutions that were around just vanished. I couldn't understand it at the time, but now with hindsight and more knowledge, I understand the situation as it unfolded then. But it was visually perceptible to me that something had changed. And not for the better.
Well, Carl knows, and many people who were living there, that one of the there were some institutions. I say to people all the time that Mutual Life, financial institution, insurance, etc. It never occurred to me that it could ever collapse and close. That it would. Mutual Life is something that you take for granted, like the sun rising per day. You expect it to be there all the time, and that was one of those big institutions, and there were several.
And Mr. McKnight, you can't talk it. You can't talk it just like that now, and just let it go like. Mr. McKnight, which government did in the office?
No, but Carl, look here.
So the young people that were listening tonight, no, Mr. McKnight.
No, but the young people are not as stupid as any of us might think.
I did not say that.
It's just a matter of whether they believe that events that happened at that time are significant enough for them not to think again of the PNP that was in power, that was the government in power, that was presided over FinSAC and all of that. Whether they think that they are never to consider them again, whether they believe that those are the same ruinous policies that might be brought back again, and whether the Jamaica Labour Party would seek to educate people, to tell people themselves what happened, and give them a clear understanding of that. That is also their part of their role.
Well, Mr. McKnight, if when you look around today, one of the advisor to the finance minister, and he want to be prime minister today, then what we would look like if we should ever take that chance.
That is something that you as a committed JLP member should be out there selling.
But I sell it.
You do. And what's the response? What's the response? Why? In other words, Carl, you'd have to consider. I don't know if Siobhan is looking at, so you will know whether he has other callers he wants to take. But you would have to consider how that selling has gone down, Carl, in the results of the recent elections.
Well, let me tell you what happened in a local government election, Mr. McKnight. A JLP went out too late on campaigning. And in give.
When you say too late, you mean after the calling of the after the naming of the date?
Right. And them was out for 3 years. I tried to sell the Jamaica Labour Party as the wickedest thing since sliced bread. And when the Prime Minister realized and hit the road, time almost catch up on we. But we still did well. But time almost did catch up on we.
All right.
A local government election should have called 6 months after a general election. 6 months.
But Carl, you realize that if you said that, we'd have been calling the local government elections in the middle of COVID in that.
But he generally called there too.
Yeah, we know what happened as a result of that, though.
That's why I should have called 6 months after, 6 to 8 months. And that would have been a full cleanup. Nothing would left.
All right, Carl, I hear you. Good. We're going to have to take some more calls, though. Bookman, you're on the line.
Hey, Carl.
Yeah, evening, Shiva.
Evening, Bookman.
It's a mock night.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, I just look at our two local instances now and share it. This thing where them set up for the security guards in the PSRE, right? The office downtown there.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. If you could just say that again, I missed that.
PSRE. The security, so some regulation for the security guards, right?
Okay. Uh-huh.
All right. You person's been going to this place, and as a person wear a jeans and a t-shirt. There's no spaghetti strap or nothing like that. Nothing. And people are telling about you not just properly and send back you out of the place. What is that?
What is the agency supposed to be doing?
Them say all them regulate security guard your license, them the alcohol ID, you pay your feet and you get it. You understand? People leave them yard from far early man and get up and go there and them tell about you not just properly. What is that? Oh, just what is a dress code for you wear a nice t-shirt and a jeans?
They turned you back personally. You have that personal experience?
No, man. A friend, man. More than one people, man.
Okay.
What is... I don't understand Jamaica thing, you know. It's come like a rigmarole and people in the office to frustrate people, you know. What do you think about that, Siobhan?
I mean, I don't even know of this entity that you're referring to. I didn't know there was a...
Yes, there was a security...
Oh, the Private Security Regulation Authority. That's what you're referring to?
Yes, man. It's down by Kingston Mall there. Right? And people
and
go
they turn you down based on dress code?
Turn down people about dress code. And no spaghetti strap, nothing. People now go in the outrageous or nothing like that. And you have to turn back people about your dress code. You're not dressed properly. You have to go... Eh?
No, but there are dressing standards, but I can't imagine they're so strict that a man can show up in, say, a t-shirt and a pair of jeans and couldn't get through. That don't make any sense to me.
Eh? A lady wear a jeans and a t-shirt. That don't make no sense.
There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you're not showing up there in a Ganzi or a Marina, I don't see what's wrong with you.
No, that is not what I'm saying. It's not a sleeveless thing. It's a full shirt, full sleeve t-shirt and a nice jeans pants. Nothing short, nothing. You understand? Tall jeans pants down to our ankle.
There's nothing wrong with that. That is well within proper dress code to go to a public or a public entity.
Yeah. These people in these places, make some little rule on them own. Go on the government address this. You understand? And tell people what to wear. If they must wear a jacket, suit or something like that. What is that?
Yes, sir. Sometimes I don't know the circumstances of this particular case, but sometimes we hear. I mean, we were hearing it a few years ago more of people going to various entities, including hospitals, including other places. I remember RGD had a problem with that too, and people being turned out because
that is what when people go to the RGD, what was about marine and spaghetti strap blouse, but I'm telling you, this is a full sleeve t-shirt
and sleeveless women with sleeveless.
Thing, no, this is a full sleeve thing. That is what I don't know.
Well, sir, I wouldn't set up myself as any authority on dress, and I don't know what these people are. But as I say, I don't know enough about this particular circumstance.
Siobhan, I'll give you this. I want you to get to the bottom of this. Those managers at those places are the government. No. What is the situation about this thing?
I will definitely look into it, but the only public building that I can imagine has a heightened dress code is Garden House, where you need to be in a proper suit. But beyond that, I can't think of any public organization where you can show up reasonably dressed.
The people them go down there and you have to tell them you did not properly. What is that? Anyway, next point. I went to an institution like a credit union, right, to join the credit union. The people them asking from TRN, I give them a government issued driver's license with the TRN number on it. Them tell me them want the original copy. It's not the TRN number.
That's ridiculous.
What them want?
Unless the driver's license.
One, man. Go to another one, man.
Unless the driver's license is expired, I can't imagine that makes any sense.
In the past, at the COK credit union in the past, a time now. I tell you, say them people are on fast trade people. Them don't. The government issue driver's license with the TRN number. But me use everywhere. Them are going to tell me. Me use for the bank. Them are going to tell me say they want the original copy. What is that?
Ridiculous, sir. You're raising some things which are just part of the things that Jamaicans go through that make some people so angry and feel like they don't belong to the place. There are several institutions which just sometimes not even the institutions, it's the people who are there just make life difficult for people. So just difficult. Just they tell you to come and bring some things. It's a common thing. It increases the level of frustration. Tell you to bring 3 things when you go there. Say, where is this and where is that and where is this other thing that you're supposed to bring, and why didn't you go and get that from a JP? I mean, this country is full of that sort of nonsense, sir. That has been going on for a long time. Too long.
That's what I am saying. My driver's license, the people them see me in the place,
Oh,
they look so embarrassed. Them tell me, let me say, what is this? This is my government driver's license issued now. And this is my TRN number that I use. And they want the original copy. For the what? I don't see a number upon it.
That is reason enough to try another one, sir. It's not one credit union we have.
All right, Mr. McKnight and Siobhan, take care, yeah?
Have a good evening. Cleveland.
Yes, Lord, me there worry.
What are you worrying about now, Cleveland?
Mr. McKnight.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good to hear you. And Siobhan?
How are you, Cleveland?
Me good, man. My candidate come home, man. My candidate come home.
Yes?
No care what money they have, couldn't stop him.
To who?
No, my candidate come home.
Okay.
And I said, no care what money they have, they couldn't stop him from winning.
Okay.
You people going as if you don't believe when we say plenty money me there in that place I spend.
Well, you mean to spending to pay people to get their vote or to pay people to stay home?
Yes, paying people to get them vote. Yeah, come right to a police station with it.
You know what you need for the Cleveland?
With the money? With the money, Cleveland?
Yeah. If the what?
With the money? You mean they come to the polling station?
Yes,
but
you
could have called out to one of the security people,
Mm-hmm. Anyhow, I don't want... what I call about, you see, I agree with Dr. Tufton to take it to the higher court, what is happening. Because can you imagine, Siobhan and Mr. McKnight, in Westmoreland, I hear it on the news, that about 60 ballots was defaced? That not something deliberate?
Defaced or spoiled, because there's a very, very big difference.
Defaced.
Oh, dear.
I think the lawyer was saying that about 60. Yesterday, the sentence was 90, and it was this evening said about 60 of them was defaced.
No, but as I said, you cannot call. If you're going to have faith in a Cleveland. If you're going to have faith in a system, sometimes that system has to be tested to make sure that it is fit and proper. You can't just blindly trust everything.
And this system allows you to test it.
Precisely.
And the presiding officer, they must get rid of them. Some of them is fake. Some of them just come there and them get well paid off to do all sort of damage to the thing. Like what I hear Mr. Dr. Tufton is saying. We don't know. Today you see one mark, and by the time you go back tomorrow, another mark. The
Cleveland, you don't know. These people are selected and trained, and of course
some of them deliberately go there to do that.
That's what the system. That's the test that Trevon is saying, that the system should test and find out. And of course, if you find people are corrupt, then you have to get rid of them.
And they must talk about tell publicly the people them. Because you can't tamper with people vote that way. You can't do that. It's unfair. Some of them deliberately. Me work at a police station, sir. And we have to keep your eye wide open. If you even want to go back to me, you don't even want to move. Because some of these presiding officers, you can't trust them. They You can't even turn around. And they may slip something in at the back. Can you imagine that? And then spoiling the people and vote?
Well, it's allegation so far, Cleveland. So that's why
Me
it's being
believe it,
tested.
sir. Me not
And there's
talking
a whole
because
set
it's
of
happening.
people,
It is happening.
our election workers and electoral officials. There's a whole, so we can't just dab them all over with
It's
a
happening,
brush.
sir. It's happening, and they must make some
And that's
people.
why the system allows for it to be tested.
Yes,
and that
yes,
one
allow the
process is going to
system,
be
make it
tested
work.
now.
No, make people come in to vote, and you go on there tampering with these things because you know, say, the person can lose the seat just for that. When the genuinely them win, not fair, not fair. The next thing I hear Mr. Holness almost saying it, this evening. Those people who complaining that things not going right, and the economy this and the economy that, they are enjoying some of the fruits of what is happening, And I hope we little people know that. Not follow them. Them enjoying a lot from what is how the economy working. They are enjoying it, making themselves even much richer than what they are. So we Jamaicans must be careful. Don't follow them and make them mislead and bring we back to what happened in the 70s and 80s, 90s come up. You see? Because I hear the civil servant then complaining. But they are better off than me than when I was in there because I live on a wage freeze for how much years. I'm barely getting anything for pension. When they come out, they will far better off than we. So be careful what you're doing, civil servants. Protect the economy. Protect the economy. Be careful. Because nobody fool, Let's see, and get we back down to where we're coming from. We don't want to get back there.
The country has come a long way, Carl, considering the circumstance. Sorry, Cleveland. So considering the circumstances that we are under, I'm surprised that the things we're arguing about now in terms of the economy are not the things we were arguing about 20 years ago.
Yes.
We're not arguing about
yes, go ahead.
No, so we're not arguing about 40% inflation. We're arguing about 7 versus 6.
Yes.
We're not arguing about 10%.
Yes.
We're not arguing about 10% unemployment. We're arguing about 4 versus 5.
And I think I hear with Cinco want to recruit 600 people. Maybe for the new place they're opening.
Yeah, and can't find them. That's sad.
That's it. Yeah. So I don't know why the people make people telling us things when I go so.
Anyways, Cleveland, I'm getting the wrap-up signal. We're out of time. Anyways, that's it for the evening. It's thanks to our technical operator, Andrew Glenn Anderson, my super producer, Dana Davey, my friends and compatriots in the news department led by the capable Cara Powell. I'm Siobhan Campbell.
I'm Franklin McKnight.
Have a good evening.